Here we are for this very special encounter at the Bon Open between Jeffrey Blancano against Damir the Demon Jumur. He's very much demonized thus far, showing a bit of frustration after losing the first set. Anyway, the Frenchman to serve 15-30. Bit of pressure on that Frenchman's shoulders, like a couple of baguettes weighing over him. Needs to take some time. No hurry, he says, at 15-30. He's up a set, 2-all here. What are you gonna do? You're gonna go there down the middle, and that is a shank. One that even Stefanos Tsitsipas would be proud of. Get that towel, mop your brow, return to the baseline where you'll know it's 30-all. Screeches from the other courts. But they don't put this young Frenchman off. Look at him, prowling, brushing, questioning. Maybe they do put him off. He needs to be focused. It's 30-all, 2-all, tens times here at the Bon Open. Goes out wide with that, comes into the net, does the volley. Does he put it away? No, he doesn't. But he puts that one away, and his opponent, the demon, Damir Jumur, just cannot believe what has happened to him. I'll tell you what's happened. You've been flummoxed, and you've lost the point. We would take another look at it if we had a replay, but we don't. But who knows? You don't even need a replay, it's in our heads. Okay, the Frenchman to serve. I say you're going out wide. You don't, you go down the tee. Clip the net though, so he's going to get another shot at it. Is he going to take my advice and go out wide on this one? Did so successfully on that last time for a serve and volley, even though he'd messed up the volley. Goes down the tee again, does come into the net, does a little drop shot, and you know what? Jumur is like, I can't even be bothered to run that down. And he's going to clean that line. Look at this, he's cleaning the line because he's so annoyed with some funny bounces.
All right. Hey guys, welcome to the first watch along on the channel from the Australian Open. This is going to be mostly Virtanen fields, but my plan is to also keep an eye on Todoni Zheng. So basically, the first two matches on Rod Laver Arena and Margaret Court Arena, these are the ones that are kind of the most interesting to me today. I think this double header is kind of the centerpiece of the Sunday schedule. Of course, we are starting on Sunday for the second year in a row. The producer was here a second ago with the scores. I wonder if he's going to be back, but if not, then in a couple of minutes, I'm just going to put on the scores for you. But for now, let's give him a couple of minutes to maybe fix his internet or whatever. Yeah, so far already a few matches going on because they started about 30 minutes earlier than the action on the Laver Arena and Margaret Court. We've got Hugo Gaston already serving for the set against Omar Chasika. And as for the women, Bernarda Pera is in the same position against Tatiana Maria. Leila Fernandez has an early break on Yulia Starodubtseva. Veronika Erjavec is up a break, but probably won't for not for long as she's low 40 down against Susan Leymans. And also we've got Mari Buskova against Mirra Andreeva, which also might be one of the most interesting matches of today if Buskova is able to keep fighting with Mirra. Of course, yeah, I will now focus maybe on Virtanen and Fields and that matchup, which seems very interesting on paper. I think it's one of the toughest opening round draws that Fields could have gotten, really. Just a very strong server with good pace of both wings, who can really just make the rallies pretty quick and attack the Fields forehand. It's not easy on a court like this, especially as Artur, of course, still isn't like fully consistent. It's still kind of struggling to get these big runs in major events. And this is a draw that could make him kind of suffer again. We'll see. I think we're going to be starting literally right now with Otto Virtanen double faulting. Seems like the producer is out for a while now, so maybe I will just try to put on the screens for you myself, which should not be a problem. Anyway, Virtanen serving first, and what you need to know about Otto is that he hasn't played yet this year. And that was because of some sort of a health problem that he had in December. He had to do a lot of checkups with the doctors and everything. And that was a bit uncertain, like whether he was going to be able to play Australia even. But he apparently came to Melbourne 10 days ago and has been practicing nonstop here. So it seems like he should be fine. That said, it's definitely a rusty start. The double fault and now the +1 forehand that's just like dumped into the middle of the net. Now he finds a much better first serve, though. Scores will be on soon, don't worry. Anyway, because of that, we don't really know much about Virtanen's form. But if he's able to deliver and play at his highest level of focus, as we know that's been a major issue for Otto in the past, and kind of why he was struggling to get into the top 100 for quite a long time, then this should be a very challenging matchup for Artur. Well, now 30 all already, 2 unreturned serves, one of them on the second serve of Virtanen. It was a good kicker, but Fields will be looking to do a lot better on these sort of returns as the match keeps going, as obviously these are the points that he has to be troubling here, and Virtanen is kind of just smashing with flat pace at the Fields forehand. It actually holds up fine. I don't like this final decision and the point from Otto to just go down the line on a very low margin shot. I think he still had a chance to keep himself in it, just either way, basically with another play. But that's what he went for. And now it's going to force him to save his first breakpoint of the match already in the opening game. I'm going to watch this breakpoint and then try to put the scores for you. Well, we're playing a rally, and he fires an amazing inside-out forehand at the Fields backhand. So this is already a first breakpoint save for Virtanen. Probably a little more crucial for Otto to just kind of start better and keep holding. Artur does have a more versatile game as a whole. So it's going to be more important for Otto to get these holds and be relatively quick with them, at least most of the time. Yes, and we're going to use this allow. I think you should have the scores on the screen now. Well, they are a little small, I guess. So maybe I will just enlarge them and only put the two matches that we're mostly interested in. So Virtanen Fils and Todoni Zheng. I will probably not be jumping between the matches from like that often, but I might if there's a very interesting game in Todoni Zheng, or I don't know, if Virtanen Fils end their first set, I might jump to Todoni Zheng for a while, and we'll just kind of monitor the situation very closely there. Virtanen gets the first game on the board, saving a breakpoint, but doing it, of course, with an unreturned serve. Actually, was it? No, it was that inside out forehand, sorry, +1, that forced an error from Fils. I think Arthur was expecting Otto to just keep smashing away at his forehand. He went the other way. Either way, it's an opening game for Virtanen. It wasn't easy, but he's done it, and he is on the board. They only played once before, on the contrary to what the Australian Open broadcasts are going to tell you, because I saw that while they were warming up, they showed that this was their first meeting, which is just straight up a lie, because at the Quimper Challenger in 2023, they met in the quarterfinals, and it was Fils taking the win 4-6, 6-2, 6-3. That was one of the breakout events of Arthur. He finished 2022 ranked about 250 in the rankings. And then basically he goes to Oeiras at the start of the year. He wins one event. He makes the final of another. He's fantastic there. And eventually he also goes to Quimper, loses in the final to Grégoire Barrère, who just really attacks him with such high pace. Oh, actually, sorry, I'm confusing something. Yeah, I mean, in Oeiras, he only played one event, I think, and he won it over Joris Delors, right? It was Delors who was trying to go for back-to-back titles, sorry. And then in Quimper, he beats Virtanen in the quarters. He loses to Grégoire Barrère, who just, at the time, had too much weight of shot, and again, that flat pace that Fils' forehand on quicker courts can struggle with. And that match was kind of like a showing that, we knew that Fils is already improving a lot, but he's not quite there. And then, honestly, just like 2 weeks later, he is in the semifinals of an ATP 250 in Montpellier. 2 weeks later, he's in the semifinals of another ATP 250. And it's been like a non-stop rise ever since for the young Frenchman, who is, of course, 20. He is going to turn 21 this year. Virtanen is still a young player himself, so this is definitely a fascinating clash on the opening day of the 2025 Australian Open edition. And Fils starts his first service game with a couple of good points. It's a great serve, and also that +1 backhand there. Virtanen was out of the court. Didn't need to be super precise with it, and certainly wasn't. Here we have an example of how that flat forehand from Virtanen can hurt Fils in the cross-court exchange. Of course, Fils uses a pretty extreme grip to produce the kind of topspin that he has, and it's a major asset of his game, needless to say. The spin, the pace, the combination is just insane. It's already one of the best on the tour. But at the same time, it does require a bit of time to set up. So basically, the job for Virtanen today is to try to steal that time away from Arthur and not allow him to settle on that wing. We've got the Fils coaching box here. Lots of familiar faces. Ivan Ljubicic, the head coach of the French Tennis Federation. Of course, Arthur's dad is also showing up most of the time, but Sébastien Grosjean, his coach, Paul-Henri Mathieu. So definitely a very star-studded box for Arthur. And he cleans up the first game with another good +1 play. This one was just a short return from Virtanen that he obliterates into the Finn's forehand corner. So yeah, 1 game all. And we're going to see a lot of holds like this in this match. And if we're going to see a lot of holds like this, then the margins will be pretty slim. So that's not bad for Virtanen whatsoever. However, of course, he was the player who struggled more in these opening 5, 7, 6, 7 minutes. Yeah. Once again, we are in play, so that's good for Fils that he's really at least forcing the issue a little bit on the Virtanen serve so far. And it is going to end with a forehand dumped into the middle of the net by Otto. Virtanen will probably be looking to attack the forehand also with his serve. The block return from Fils not quite good enough. Ooh, throwing in the drop shot, Virtanen. He might actually pay the price. It's a fascinating rally. Eventually he wins it. Took a couple of shots with this low dipping backhand pass and then eventually the forehand into the open court. But not a bad play. Feels kind of read it okay, the forehand dropper from Otto. But overall, we're probably going to see a little bit of that at least from the Finn today. That's a really good forehand counter from Fields. You can see that Virtanen is not willing to give up ground off the baseline at all. He takes that forehand super early, but with all the speed and the athleticism Fields has, he's just like sprinting right into it and is able to get the error. One more great serve by Virtanen, and he's gonna get a game point to keep the lead and keep being marginally ahead in this opening set. Of course, a lot of other matches, as I mentioned earlier, are going on right now. So we are going to be checking these results as well. And as I said, Todoni Zheng is kind of like our backup match in the sense that I also want to watch it at least a little bit. That's a net court. And Virtanen is going to have to lob Fields, which he actually does with, yeah, wow. Very inventive here, but that's fine. Congrats to him for this. That was kind of unexpected. Gaston off to a flyer. I mean, yeah, but he's playing. Sorry, not this. He's playing Omar Jessica, right? I mean, that's one of the best draws in the event. Definitely. The producer is back. Okay. Vansh's comment about Fizz was interesting, about just being able to throw in a trash performance from nowhere, which is why he's not yet ready for the top 10. I mean, you know, he hasn't had a big run at an ATP 1000. He hasn't had a big run at a Grand Slam. So is that because of that reason mostly? Like, yeah, sure. He's won two ATP 500s, but he just has a little like too many, I would say, troublesome matchups like Umber and Arnaldi. You know, not really among the top, but these guys have like been seriously seriously hampering his ability to go deep in big events so far. And also, well, of course, Umber is also in his draw here. But also, yeah, I mean, the guy is definitely still very erratic, and from week to week, we don't really know what we're going to see from him. And it's tough to combine this into 5+ matches, but this is basically the goal for this year for Arthur Fils. You know, this is going to be what he's trying to achieve this season for the most part. A big run at an event where he hasn't done it yet, so a slam or an ATP 1000. And of course, that would probably mean that his ranking will be improving as well. We have our first very long exchange of the match, I would say. Definitely in the long rallies category, 9+. And it's actually Virtanen kind of keeping his cool a little bit better. Fields was very tempted to go for a bigger backhand crosscourt here. The thing about Virtanen is that, like, sometimes if you watch him, he's just unwilling to rally. He's basically just trying to end every single point in 3 or 4 shots. Usually that's not the best version of Virtanen, because actually some of his best matches have come when he finds that middle ground and when he's really able to dig deep and get into that grinder mode sometimes. Last year on the Challenger Tour indoors, he was winning like 40-shot rallies sometimes. And I know that, for example, in this one that I'm thinking of, basically like all of them, not all of them, but like 75% of them were just basically trading cross court. But that's okay for him. Like, that's literally kind of his game. You know, the shots are either full power or they are kind of pushed. And if he can mix it up and kind of use the best of both ways, that's where he's been at his strongest. And that extra middle ground he found late in the 2024 season was very, very crucial for his game. This is a brutal drop shot miss for Fields because Virtanen wasn't even chasing it. Like, literally, there was no intention from Otto to try to go for that, and the drop shot still lands in the net. Of course, if he knew Virtanen wasn't going to go for it, he probably would have played it even safer. What a point here. Can Virtanen do something? Probably not. There was a very nice backhand volley from Fields where he has to stretch, kind of against the direction in which he was moving. Virtanen then trying to lob him with the slice, but Fields is gonna put away the ball. So 2 overheads already in this game for Fields, and he's 30 all. Getting these overheads done pretty cleanly certainly is so vital for him here, as it's 30 all, and literally 1 miss would be 2 breakpoints. But yeah, not an easy draw for Fields generally in this event, I feel. You've got Virtanen in the opening round. If Alice is going to be healthy, then second round could get tricky too. And Umber, as I said, one of the toughest matchups for him on the tour so far. In fact, Otto is pushing for it here. It's a very good backhand cross court, and Fields is not quite able to make it back over the net. So that's the first breakpoint of the match for Virtanen. He's already saved one in the opening game. He's having a laugh there with his team. I don't think we've seen it yet, but oh yeah, actually there is Jan de Wiet here. I was gonna sort of like, I was thinking whether Jan de Wiet was gonna be there or just Jarko Nieminen. Otto also has a good lineup in his box, that's for sure. Jan de Wiet, of course, one of the best coaches of the last 20 years, perhaps most known for his work with Gilles Simon, and Jarko Nieminen, the best Finnish player ever. They are both working with Otto, who has that inside-in forehand opportunity here, but is going to miss it. Virtanen already qualified for a few slams. This is the first one he makes as a direct acceptance. 2024 US Open, he was able to, 2023, he played Echeverry and lost in 5 sets. 2024 at the French, he made it as a lucky loser, and he lost to Misolic, despite having a 4-love lead in the 4th set, and eventually lost in 5. Whereas then at Wimbledon and at the US Open, he was able to win 1 round before losing to a high seed in either tournament in very different style. At Wimbledon, it was Tommy Paul in 5 sets. Very good match. Had some chances there. Kind of started mentally going away in the 5th set with the underarm serve breakpoint down. But then there was also, of course, the US Open, and he played Alex de Minaur there, and that was not a good performance. Well, Fields has a game point here, but he's going to overcook that topspin forehand a little wide. Now, it's been you could say that it's been a pretty mediocre start for Fields, but after all, this is also a matchup where rhythm won't be easy to come by. I think Virtanen has done a pretty good job so far at just going at that forehand corner of Fields when he can. Even getting a few errors, in a more grindy rally, in like a more grindy rally for sure. And yeah, he's in this. Wow, but that's just a massive forehand cross-court winner from Fields. These are the shots that make you just say, wow, and why is this guy not going to be top 10 soon? And I do think he will be at some point of his career at the very least, but probably relatively soon, as he's got the opportunity to get us back to level terms after saving 1 breakpoint himself. Well, it's good returning from Virtanen, to be honest, but this drop shot is probably going to be overkill. Actually not. That's good stuff as well. I think Fields trying to go for that backhand response. I don't know. Maybe Virtanen just read him pretty well. Once again, he's kind of having a laugh with Jan de Wiet. Seems like the chemistry between the two is pretty strong. Some of the events last year, I think Nieminen was traveling with him instead of de Wiet. De Wiet has a few other guys that he's working with, including Basilashvili, for example. But I guess right now he's just kind of taken over as Otto's main coach. Pretty interesting player, I think, for a coach like this, a coach who kind of maybe was more well known for more tactical, defensive, intelligent players rather than someone as aggressive as Virtanen. But maybe that's just a different challenge in the sense that, you can really teach him very different stuff. Well, Virtanen tries to go for a back-to-back lob. Back-to-back lob, behind the back lob, which is going to be long. So we finally are at 2 games all. How am I? Fine. I was actually at a friend's house, just came back like 30 minutes ago, and excited to watch the first few hours of the Australian Open today. We'll see how much stamina I'll have, if I last the entire night. To be honest with you, the night session is very unappealing to me today. A lot of like blowouts potentially. So I might just like stay up as long as I can and then sleep through the night session. But yeah, this is definitely my favorite kind of like double header at this point of the schedule. So the opening matches on the main two courts, Todoni, Zheng, and Virtanen Fields. Excited to bring them to you. I just feel that Layla will spend most of the next 10 years ranked 30 in the world. Yeah, I mean, I've always felt like this, and I still feel like that. So, not really sure what to say. Do I think Zheng is vulnerable today? I have a lot of respect for Todoni's talent. It's probably a bit too much. Like, she's played 2 top 50 matches so far, I think. Lost both of them. Against Coco, it was, 6-6-1. It's probably a bit much, but eventually, like, in a year or two, I think Todoni might be, playing on these stages a lot more often. Fils Humbert are on a collision course in the third round in Melbourne. Jane is excited about ADF Shang. Already we have a rain delay on the outside courts, by the way. We've got 3 courts in Melbourne under the roof, so we still have 3 matches going on. But yeah, basically, just maybe after watching this point and seeing, it's a backhand cross court that's long from Virtanen, so he might be in trouble again here. Anyway, where did we finish at? So Fernandez is serving for the set against Starodubtseva, 5-3, 15 love, and that's when the rain came. Pera and Maria are going into the first set tiebreak. Susan Leymans, friend of the show, defeated Veronika Riav. I mean, in the opening set, she beat Veronika Riav at 7-5, and they didn't even start the second. Whereas Hugo Gaston was up a set already on Omar Jasica. We'll see when the players on the outside courts will be able to return, because it's supposed to be a pretty tricky forecast today in Melbourne. Anyway, we have 3 courts with roofs, so it's not going to be the end of the world for us. We're still going to catch plenty of action. In fact, Mirra Andreeva is already up a set on Mari Buskova on, I think, John Cain Arena. Is it the third one? Oh, wow. Virtanen was playing with fire here on that forehand volley. Easily could have gone long, but it does bounce inside the court. 40-30. I kind of want to see the replay of this. Yeah, I think he maybe caught it like a little bit too front, just a little bit too far ahead of, just didn't get to the net on time, really. And, it was uncomfortable. On the replay, you can see that he basically landed that on the baseline. But anyway, the result is the same, 40-30. Wow, huge second serve at the body. And it's going to be a point as he forces a forehand passing shot error from Fils. And we have a 3-2 lead for Otto at the moment. I think that when this set is over here, I'm probably going to switch to Todoni Zheng for a second at least. And depending on what the situation is there. But anyway, we'll find out later. Favorite between Faria and Kotov? I mean, Kotov is in horrible form. So I think Faria is like a 50-50 at least. Faria obviously has the tools to play well on a court like this. He's kind of more well known right now for his clay success, because that's what at the challenger level has been the most important part for him so far. But it's not the end of the world, needless to say, if he's playing on hard courts. I mean, I think ITF titles, he's won all 6 on hard courts. Definitely not struggling in conditions like this, and he's got all the aggressive ground strokes and serve needed. So yeah, considering Kotov's form, I think Jaime has a real chance to claim this win today. Khabib going to achieve more than Benny Hassan? Probably. The fact that Hassan still doesn't have a challenger title is pretty surprising, though. He easily could, and Khabib already got that, right? So, plus, of course, Hadi Khabib has also qualified for a slam. At this point of his career, I would probably guess that Hassan never does that. Hassan could win a challenger title, though, but I'm not sure he will ever qualify for a slam at this stage. Yeah, rain delay. Yeah, they put on the roof on the three main courts because they knew what the forecast was, right? When I saw Virtanen in versus Punkfinity, well, basically, when I was watching the first video with Otto and Punkfinity, I don't think I was aware of who Virtanen was at the time. So I think I later went back and realized that, oh wow, it was Otto Virtanen. So no, I mean the answer has to be when I was watching their first video together. No, when did I realize Virtanen was such an incredible talent? I don't know. I did watch him a lot in Helsinki 2021 when I was there live. He was playing doubles with the legend Jürgen Tropp. His actually last professional event, I think, the highest ranked Estonian ever. Why did he play with Otto there? Basically, Otto's father, Pasi, was coaching Tropp for some of his playing career, and yeah, it was a very fun duo, obviously, to watch there. I think they made the quarters or the semis. I'm not sure. Otto in singles, he played Ramkumar Ramanathan in this exciting clash, and he was kind of wild. He was serving volleying a lot, had a big serve, but not much more. But there was a point where, like, indoor challengers, suddenly he was a monster. And I think since these kind of like late 2022 performances, I've been super high on Otto. It took a while for him to get over that top 100 hurdle. I mean, he literally had years when he was playing well indoors for a month and then nothing for the entire 11 months after that. Of course, there was also the Davis Cup peaking from time to time, but that doesn't give you points. But yeah, that patience sort of has been rewarded. But I would say, yeah, when the first Punkfinity video with Otto Virtanen came out, I don't think I was aware of Otto at the time, so I probably just thought it was gonna be like a random Finnish tennis player. Am I doing 2 streams tonight? I'm not aware of that, Jake. I'm not aware of that at all. Oh, Vansh is here, so I'm gonna get him on. I'm not sure, Jake. I mean, what is the second stream? I think I'm only doing the one.
Anyways, how are you guys? How's everybody? How's Damien?
I'm all good. Excited to catch your slam. You know, the one you've been waiting for.
I'm actually more excited about tomorrow's schedule than I am today's, but there's still some good matches.
Honestly, 3 of them going on right now. 3 of the
Yeah.
best of what today's schedule has to offer, I think.
Yeah, I have them all 3 playing right now on different screens.
Virtanen has produced another breakpoint, but it's going to be an ace from Arthur Fields. Indeed, free screens is kind of the ideal option for the Australian Open, it seems, since we have free courts with roofs. So there's always going to be some action on these courts at the very least. One more huge forehand miss from Arthur Fields is going to provide another breakpoint to Virtanen. Every single match obviously being indoors right now, the ones that are being played. I've definitely seen some complaints about the Sunday schedule being a little light. I don't know what you think about that.
If I compare to 2024, it wasn't like the first day, but I don't know. I mean, it's like easing your way into a really packed Sunday and Monday. I don't really mind it.
Oh, Jake, I meant double header, as in like Virtanen Fields and Todoni Jang is, you know, the thing that I'm enjoying the most today about the schedule, and that I'm basically gonna try to catch them both right here. Anyway, Virtanen gets the break. It's another rally where he's putting a lot of pressure on that Fields forehand corner. Eventually, though, it's the backhand from Arthur, I think, that gets dumped into the middle of the net. And yeah, that great start from Virtanen continues, and it's 4-2 already. Why are some media people arguing about the order of play PDF file
Oh,
availability? Yeah, this was a fantastic the debate this morning this morning my time between Jose and Michał Samurski. Well, what I'm going to say is that I think neither is all that's right in this argument. So like Michał is just treating this as in like he's whatever he posts, the PDFs he posts, as if this was like the path to the Holy Grail. And he's basically just saying that he's spreading some knowledge that otherwise cannot be found and cannot be. But you
but
know, the
he
guy is still taking this from like some mailing list, right? So whatever. And then Jose is probably right that like because of his work for like a rights holder for these events, for a TV rights holder, I'm pretty sure that he or someone he knows are also on the same mailing list. So I don't really care, to be honest. But yeah, it was funny.
unrelated, but is his name pronounced Josa or is it Jose?
I mean, you know, in Portuguese it's Jose, but I don't
That's
know,
right.
maybe there's some specific situation that we don't know about.
No,
But
you're right.
basically it's Jose in Spanish and
In
Jose in
Spanish, yes.
Portuguese, like Jose Mourinho. So
Okay.
or Jose de Souza, there's a very famous Portuguese darts player. So generally Jose in Portuguese it's Jose, yeah.
What do you think about Jerry Shang versus Davidovich Fokina?
There's not much to think about it, to be honest. I mean, Jerry was sick the last two events he played, so that's already something that I can't really control. Davidovich Fokina in the most mediocre of forms.
Mhm.
He's won the last two meetings last year, which is kind of making me doubt whether Shank can do it. But at the same time, he's probably like the conventionally better player, at least by a tiny bit. Can flip a coin. They are even pretty similar in some regards, just kind of like wildly talented, but at the same time a hot mess that isn't likely to go, just like isn't likely to change anytime soon.
Mhm.
Very entertaining point here as Fields is approaching the net. He actually hits a smash, but Virtanen gets it back with a semi-smash response. Yeah, you can call it a smash. But Fields is there with the volley. He doesn't lose his focus even for one bit, and he will have an opportunity to break Otto right back.
Yeah.
Definitely a lot of action on both players' serves so far, despite both of them getting plenty of unreturned serves themselves. It's gonna be a quick cleanup from the Finn.
What qualifies as a good tournament for Feast? Getting to the fourth round?
Considering he has to play Umber in the third round,
Yeah.
probably even that. Probably even the third round and then a competitive loss to Umber. But to be honest, his draw is just horrible. Straight up, every single round. I mean, the only real way he gets an easy just let off from somebody is if Alice isn't fit. Like if it's Walton in the second round, then yeah, that I expect him to cruise through. But otherwise, he's just getting someone really dangerous every single time. So
Yeah.
I can't. I know I would like to see Fields have a big Grand Slam run this year. Like that's kind of what his resume so far is missing. Quarterfinals somewhere. Semis would be amazing, but let's start from the quarterfinals. But it's just looking unlikely that's going to be here because getting out of this section already will be very, very, very difficult.
Yeah, he definitely didn't get lucky with the draw, that's for sure.
Some true Virtanen-like sequence of points here. We've got a double fault to get breakpoint to give Fields another breakpoint, but then two aces. So looks like Otto might be about to get that 5-2 lead. Still gonna have to do it on the second set though. We've seen Fields struggle with the kick a bit in the previous games. Let's see if this is also one of the cases. Well, not really, but the inside in from Virtanen is right on the line. So it's a 5-2 lead for the Finn. The only Finn in this year's Australian Open draw, as of course Emil Rusevori ended up pulling out. We still don't have any lucky losers, right?
Nope.
Well, 2 more days for that, but maybe we're not going to have any. And then Rusevori and Offner would be the only players who pulled out of the draw.
Rusevori's been injured for a while, right?
John, I'm not talking about the women's event. The women's event doesn't exist. But yeah, Petra Martic, of course, is a lucky loser. I was thinking about the men's. Martic was already announced right after the draw. What did you say?
Rusevori hasn't played anything since DC.
Yeah, he decided to call his 2024 season. Just call it quits on the season at that point to recover from some kind of like chronic injuries. And well, at some point, he also decided to keep that going for a little while longer and not return right away.
Yeah. He finally made the third round of a slam in Wimbledon.
Yeah, and ended up having a pretty, well, I can't say embarrassing, but, just a straightforward defeat to Giovanni Pericard.
Yep. And then loses to him again in DC. I remember that. Because I was at the event and I saw him beat Chorich, who ended up cramping at the end of that match.
Yeah, unfortunately, this year it doesn't seem like, well, at least we'll see, but it doesn't seem like we will be able to like fully solve the riddle of if they play a full healthy season on the ATP Tour, who is going to be higher, Virtanen or Rusevori, because obviously if Emil is not playing the Australian Open, that's kind of unfair already. And last year, Virtanen was still very much just trying to get to that level. I think I did on one of the shows that we did during the off season. There was a preview show or like a prediction show for the top 10 and everything between me, you, and James on the ATP side. And when James asked us for a crazy prediction for 25, I said Otto Virtanen to win an indoor ATP 250. Well, February is coming up, and then you also have October or early November. So.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I said Lucas Pouille to get to the second week of a major.
Well, not going to happen at the Australian Open, I can tell you that. But maybe you're going to have some better luck with that in the next few slams.
Yeah, maybe Wimbledon.
Yep, he was in the third round this year, so certainly possible. And in fact, he didn't actually lose at Wimbledon this year because he withdrew ahead of his third round match. So Vash, as you said, you have all 3 matches going on right now on your screens. Any thoughts so far on Andreeva Buskova? If anyone is wondering, Andreeva is about to go 6-3, 4-1 up on the Czech, and also Jang has just broken Todoni in the opening set.
Yeah, the first 6 games of Andreeva Buskova were kind of a scrap, which is what I expected it to be. But then Andreeva has kind of raised her level, and she's been the more aggressive player. And yeah, so far she's been kind of on a roll. Like this looks like it's going to be 6-3, 4-1 pretty quickly. But it was interesting because last year we did see Mira kind of struggle against the more counterpunching type players, like Katie Volynets, for example, in Indian Wells, or like
Diane Parry here in Australia.
Parry. Yeah, Diane Parry, where she came back in the third set. So it looks like, she's added a little bit more firepower with each passing month on her serve and forehand. And now you just wonder if she does get to play Sabalenka again, does that matchup look differently? Because I feel like Andreeva and Jang have been playing pretty well, but then they just run into Sabalenka, and Sabalenka doesn't have much trouble against both of them.
Yeah, besides the one match with the stomach bug at Roland Garros, Australian Open, Sabalenka, Andreeva, that would be 4th round?
Yes, 4th round.
Okay. Virtanen, in the meantime, is serving for a set. Fils actually started with a beautiful curly forehand return right on the line, but it's going to be 30-15 now for Otto.
Yeah.
Really
And
looking for that perfect start.
Jang did get the break, by the way, over
Yeah.
against Tudoni. Yeah.
And Jane is saying that Rusevori posted today that he's training again, so that's good news for the Finn. In the meantime, maybe Otto won't just destroy all his career achievements yet. Anyway, it's a very short return here from Fizz, set point down. Virtanen is gonna maybe play with fire a little bit by sending him to that wide backhand corner, but hitting that backhand passing shot would have been an incredible achievement for Fizz, and he can't quite do it. So it's a 6-3 set. Relatively close, but if we're asking who the better player was, yeah, I think it was Otto. He was very clutch on all of these breakpoints, obviously serving extremely well, but also finding the inside in every single time when he wanted it on like a key point. And well, 16 winners from Fizz so far, 12 unforced errors, but he's actually losing this set despite Otto going 8-8.
Yeah.
53% second serve points won for Virtanen, 38 for Fizz. That does feel kind of important, especially as Fizz is actually landing a lot more of them. And yeah, 1 out of 3 on breakpoints with Virtanen, 0 out of 3 on for Fizz. Obviously, it was just a match decided by, well, a set decided by a few of these key points, but most of them went Virtanen's way. And I do think he's the deserved winner so far. This is obviously Fizz under pressure already.
Yeah, this would be very big for Virtanen to get a win like this, because as you said, he's put up some really good performances at the Davis Cup. Like I remember when he beat Nuno Borges like really badly at the start of was it February last year, where he just crushed Borges. Borges had just come out off of the 4th round at the Australian Open. He beat him like 2-1. And then there was this other like really greedy match he played against Mackenzie McDonald. That was also Davis Cup, but that was the year before, September. But perhaps the one that sticks out in my head the most, that I watched very closely, was the Tommy Paul match at Wimbledon, where he led 2-1. And he played a similar type of first set in that one like he did here, where he just, like, Tommy played pretty well, but Virtanen still ended up winning the first set and was like super hyper aggressive. And like Tommy was in big trouble there. Like almost didn't win the 4th, and then yeah, we would have never got the quarterfinal with Carlos.
How well do you think Nishash will play against Novak? It's a question from Ramesh. Personally, I don't have high expectations. Like, it's going to be super fun. Narratively, it's a great match because of all the similar tools that they have and kind of how Nishash has been trying to model his game a little bit after Novak. But I'm not expecting much in terms of it actually being close.
Same, but it's going to be very fun to watch.
I feel like I'm gonna tune in for like a set, just again see how their games look against each other. But if it's just a 6-3 cleanup for Djokovic in the opener, I'm probably turning it off and just watching a more competitive affair. Unless it's like, later in the day, maybe there's nothing else.
For me, I knew it was going to be a night match, so I kind of already knew it was going to be like 12:30 for me. So I'm just going to see the first set, and if Novak wins the first set, well, he's only lost 6 times in the major after winning first set, and 3 of them were to Stan Wawrinka. So I think it's the first set will be a good tell. But if Nishesh wins the first set, I'm probably going to keep watching.
How is Basavaredi like Novak? I mean, look at the returning style, look at the redirecting skills. Just generally, the backhand is super smooth and kind of similar to Novak's technique. But I think what we said, that's one of the shows we did together. I think it was on the Igan Carlos show, that like they kind of have the same tools, but they just use it very differently. Of course, Nishesh plays a very different game. More aggressive, more like net heavy, lots more like slicing and throwing in a junk ball from time to time as well. But yeah, ultimately, it's not a similar game in terms of the tactics, but kind of similar in a few aspects technically. And well, it's good. I don't know if it's blowing up, but certainly, like, even before Nishesh was drawn against Novak here, there were interviews with him like dedicated to this, and some of his
Yeah.
other peers as well. Some of his peers in the States have also been comparing him to Novak. So it's there. Obviously, it's not making headlines, everywhere because it's still Nishesh Basavaredi, and it's not exactly like he's got that much hype. But among the tennis circles, let's say, this has been a thing for a while now. It's not just people saw the draw and they're like, oh, actually, Novak is kind of like Nishesh. No, I mean, this has been an actual thing for a long time. I will say 4, 4, and 3. Damien, you're talking about Nishesh and Novak. Yeah, I think that's fine. If you had said he loves Nadal, they'd be saying he's like Nadal. No.
No. Nadal is very unique in that sense. There's really nobody I can think of who.
Actually, there is a ridiculous Nadal comparison, which I always found just insane. But basically, Jason Kubler has been heralded as right-handed Nadal.
What? No, I don't see that at all.
I don't see it either, but people have been like, this is
I mean,
also
then you
like,
might as well just
Google
say
it.
Casper
It's a
Ruud
thing.
because of the right-handed heavy topspin forehand. But even that is like.
Yeah, it's not the same kind of heaviness at all. It's not the same. Again, how they apply it is also very different. I don't see it at all with Kubler and Nadal, but it was a thing. Like when Kubler was coming up as a junior, he was called the right-handed Nadal. I think these days you don't really see it anymore. He's kind of like gotten his own identity over the years in a way. But when people were just learning about Kubler, that was a thing, and I never really got it. But
yeah, I
whatever.
think Ghosty is just trying to say that they just I mean the first thing that's the similar one, they kind of just run with it because it's easier to generate hype.
I mean, definitely some of these comparisons to Djokovic from people in the American media have been a bit ludicrous, but there is a touch of truth in this, and that's why I think narratively it's a good match. But again, that's kind of just well, all there is to it for me for now. I don't think it will be a very competitive affair. Yeah, that's actually very, very close to the truth, Ghosty. So I don't know if she's a barmaid though. Anyway, yeah, of course, Fields got the first game in the second set. Virtanen now serving to try to level.
Is that Nishikori's coach I see in Nishikori's old coach that I see in Jang's box?
In who?
In Kingman's box.
In Kingman's box. Okay, sorry.
Dante is something. Dante.
Yeah, I know who you mean. Bo something, right?
Yeah.
Botticelli? Am I right about that? Yeah.
No, something like that. Yeah, I don't remember the last name, but yeah, he was with K for many years. Dante Bottini, yeah. Okay.
Bottini,
yeah, because I remember he was also coaching Grigor at one point, but that was for a very brief while. Oh, okay, yeah, that's Jang's temporary coach. Interesting, because Reba needs hip surgery. Oh, okay, yeah, I forgot about that. Reba is not with Jang at this tournament. That did come out in November. Sometimes it's very hard, I'll be honest, to keep up with all the tennis coaching news and who's coaching who. And who's
it's always very tough to keep up with.
So hard.
Yeah. The main thing is that the players, well, the information on the ATP website, for example, it's only really added there by the players or changed by the players. So if the player doesn't care, it's not going to be there. And then also, for example, from the ATP media info perspective, we cannot really, we can only use the info that's there. We cannot, even if we know literally that someone is coached by someone else now, we can't say it because it's not coming from the official source, right? So yeah, it's a mess. It should be way more.
There's not much transparency about the coaches at all, compared to other sports.
Yes.
I mean, this is just Like the people who work in tennis know just as much as us. Like, in
Yeah. More breakpoints coming Fields' way, but Otto already saves one of them, and now it's gonna get a game point. There was this like longer rally where he first found the baseline of his backhand, but then missed the next shot, like, into the fence. But looks like he's still holding up on his end of the deal, let's say. I mean, it hasn't been a match completely free of just wild errors from Virtanen, but he's definitely keeping a very good intensity focus so far, and it's been enough. 6-3, 1 game all.
No, actually, Brazy Vukov will not be allowed to sit in Rybakina's box because he's been banned by the WTA. But he can, pay money for a ticket and sit in the crowd.
Yeah, in the case of Zhang and Lina Ghosty, I mean, you don't even need this, right? I mean, it's enough that they are both from the same country and they are getting similar results. Like, yeah, you don't even need all these like noodles and other stuff. I'm assuming nude is noodles, like short for noodles, but I was just guessing honestly, Jane. So yeah, okay, it is right. Yeah, Vukov not allowed to sit in the box. Plenty of kind of like, plenty of quotes from Elena suggesting that she might be very much, in favor of him still being a part of her team, even maybe instead of Goran. So it's quite a weird situation. But again, we are just speculating with a lot of this. So
Goran was
perhaps
definitely
best to
taken aback.
just.
Goran was definitely taken aback at
Yeah.
Elena's choice there, so he made that clear. So now we'll have to see whether he's how long he's going to be part of the team.
Yeah, from our perspective, probably best to just like let the situation unfold, really, as we still don't have too much info. I mean, we can only just work with what Elena is giving us, and she's definitely in one camp, let's say. So we'll see about that. But I would think it would be a real shame if Goran just like kind of came in and left after a month. At least keep both of them on. You have the money for it.
Oh yeah.
Was an attempt at a one-handed backhand hit from Virtanen. Fils gets that volley off his belly pretty nicely. Looks like Todoni will force Kinven to serve for it. Of course, the Chinese is defending plenty of points at this event. Where would that take her in the rankings if she was to lose in the opening round here? Not that it's particularly close to that at the moment. I'm just wondering, number 8, not the end of the world.
Yeah,
The live rankings, by the way, I mean, if we drop the Australian Open points, it would actually be Iga Świątek at the top again. We'll see.
Yeah, if Iga Świątek equals Sabalenka at this tournament or goes one round better, then she will be number 1.
Almost, because there's also the Coco Gauff title potential. But like, that would require a very early loss from Świątek anyway, so yeah. Yeah, if Świątek reaches like the 4th round, I guess, and then equals Sabalenka's results, then she will be the number 1.
Yeah, I guess it's not too bad for Jang because there's still such a big gap between like Rybakina and like Navarro.
Indeed,
Navarro is number 8. Navarro is a distant 8 right now. Although Rybakina at 7 already feels very low, but that's also a lot of tournaments that you missed last year.
Yeah, in the second half of the year, she was basically barely playing. That's gonna be pretty easy to cover for if she's just more active on the schedule. But of course, first half of last year, she did have some very good moments, especially before kind of like the clay season rolled around. Well, in the clay season as well in Stuttgart, but more or less around the time, the results started going down a bit, and then you've also got, well, I mean, actually, you've also got the Wimbledon semi. So yeah, I guess it's just post Wimbledon that she is just basically blanking on in terms of the rankings.
Yeah. And for Jang, if she doesn't defend her points, I don't think she needs to worry too much because she lost early at Roland Garros, lost early at Wimbledon. Only made one quarterfinal after that in Rome, and I can pick up points like a
Oh
bunch of
yeah,
places.
yeah. It
And
was
so,
this event at the Olympics for like the first 7-8 months of the year, but of course the
yeah,
Olympics don't give points. So
yeah. So basically, from there until what? Until like the U.S. Open, where she made the quarters.
yeah,
This didn't have a whole lot.
it's more players like Kalinskaya, Yastremska that are facing
Mhm.
significant jumps. Um, I mean,
Yeah.
facing significant like drops in the ranking. Yastremska, especially, maybe. I think she might be like on the verge of the top 100 if she loses in the opening round. Of course, the semi she's defending, so yeah, 784 would put her, yeah, more or less on the verge of the top 100. Yeah, if she loses in the opening round, that is. Zheng serving for the set and already with 3 set points against Todoni. Whereas Pushkova has broken back in the Andreeva encounter. Already 4 double faults from Virtanen, but he can still claim this game at 40-30 and keep going with Arthur in the second set.
By the way, this game was insanely long with
Which one?
Andreeva and Bushkova.
Andreeva Pushkova.
Yeah. Insanely long.
I don't think I'm sure you said it, but I don't think I actually got your answer earlier on the light schedule for today. Could you like quickly repeat what you said
Um,
there?
no, I think I said that. I remember like last year. I think it was a big talking point because last year the tournament started out with kind of a bang and like more blockbuster matches on day one, but this year it's like much lighter and like
So what were
Sunday.
the blockbuster matches last year?
I think mostly people just really remember it because well, Prismic Djokovic was so good, and they
Okay.
weren't expecting it. Um, and then maybe some on the women's side as well. But like I'll have to go back and check. But I think compared to what the schedule looks like for Sunday and Monday, like it's like a considerable amount of difference. But personally, I don't mind it because like the extra day, like you can have some of these players shine on this day, and you can just like work your way into it. So for me, like I'm not really complaining about it.
Yeah, I'm not complaining about it either. You are kind of right though that Djokovic Prismic was probably a big deal in that. I believe on the first day of of last year's Australian Open, we were trying to do a watch along for Marozsan and Cilic, and then we both actually didn't wake up in time.
Yeah. I mean, there were other
And
ones like I think maybe Stan had like an epic in the first round. Like I think that was against Manarino.
yeah,
Yeah,
Stan definitely
I
lost to
think it was
Manarino. I
Manarino.
don't remember which round it was, but definitely he lost to Manarino.
Yeah, I think that was the first round. But
Possibly. Yeah, we tried to do a watch along for Marozsan Cilic, which was like maybe 5 a.m. my time, and we both we both didn't actually wake up for that, but we did like a set and a half maybe. And then I did Djokovic Prismic in the morning at 9 a.m. my time, and I spent like 4 hours sitting
yeah.
literally in this very chair watching
And
that match and
actually,
talking to you guys, and I did enjoy it a lot. It was surprisingly good.
yeah, and then I actually also that it might have been that Medvedev match against Atman because like for a while Medvedev was kind of in trouble. in the first round against Terrence, and then Terrence like started cramping. And
Yeah. I think it was the same day. Yeah.
so I feel like there were a lot of like, and then on paper like you had Auger-Aliassime and team, which was like at that point, yeah, this is not, I don't really consider that like a super watchable match, but it was.
Yeah, but I know some people will just for the sake of the names and kind of
Yeah,
from like a
it's kind of like
casual viewer's
yeah,
perspective, it's a very good match. Yeah, even though it's not actually.
right. But yeah, I
People who would
remember
not
that. Like, yeah, there was some like there was like Raonic. He was a big name, and he was playing Diminor. I
That was
think they were
also
just
a good match
a lot
before
of,
the
lot
retirement,
of
right?
matchups. Yeah, there were a lot of matchups with just like big names, but
Mhm.
not necessarily like informed players.
Sure. I do think that a certain issue with today's schedule is that the night session or the evening session, I don't know how they call it in Australia, but
Yeah,
it's looking pretty rough. Like Lehechka 2, I doubt that's going to be a competitive match. Puis
mm.
Zverev, kind of similar story. Blinkova Savi is just, doesn't quite have the star power
maybe
in
it's
the
all
night
resting on
session.
Sabalenka and Stephens,
It
which
is, yeah.
which isn't great, but yeah, let's
If that pans out, I think the day is gonna be like saved in a way. But if that doesn't pan out, then probably the night session is just gonna be very poor. So that's why my strategy for today is to actually try to watch as much as possible right now, try to stay up as late as possible, and then eventually just probably sleep through most of the night session. Anka Todoni, by the way, what's
yeah.
happening there?
Well, Jang missed some first serves of 40 love, and Tadoni has really turned this around. This was definitely surprising. I didn't see all the points here because I have my eyes on the other two screens mostly because I kind of thought the set was over, but I just know that Jang missed first serves, and Tadoni was just very solid from the baseline.
Yeah, I'm going back now to watch the set points, to be honest, because
Yeah, there was like a backhand um, that
it all started
I
with a
think
double fault for Kinven, that I can tell you already.
actually I'm gonna go back. Yeah, because you remember like last year she had this problem, Kinman, where she was like either hitting a ton of aces or double faulting.
Sure.
There wasn't a whole lot of in between.
Todoni getting some nice height on the backhand here, and Zheng trying to like hit super heavy and basically overcooking a little bit. There's actually a very nice backhand combo here from Todoni. The first cross court and then line, and she has to take it like very low, but she's able to do it on the crouch. And that's wow. I mean, that's a fantastic return as well on the next point. That's already a deuce. So yeah, she kind of started. I mean, she got a cheap error definitely at the very start of it, the double fault, but after that, she actually kind of started crushing here. She gets a pretty cheap error on another deuce though, and eventually, I think she just got to that second breakpoint and probably claimed it.
Yeah, there was like this
Yeah,
backhand being hit long, I think.
yeah, that's just super deep
Yeah, I
from.
watched the 15-40 point, and that reminds me a little bit of how Evan Easton played her at that tiebreak.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely, yeah, absolutely. I think it was a very smart point from the Romanian.
Yeah, maybe more people should try that again, Sean. Let's see.
There's an interesting fun fact here as well on my screen that in the past 40 years, qualifiers are 145 against top 5 opponents at the Australian Open in the women's singles. And only 5 of those 46 matches went to a deciding set. So Todoni definitely trying to, make a bit of history here in that sense too. But yeah, good to see that that match is also delivering now, at least in the shape of a very close first set, which didn't seem like it would be. Andreeva will serve for the match as Virtanen and Fils are still on serve, so I think I will actually switch to Todoni Zheng on my main screen for now.
Yeah. Well, this was very good. 40-15 to deuce. Those 2 points were very strong from Tadoni.
Yes, Ghosty. It was last year when Iga went Collins, Kenin, and Noshkova. There was never going to be like a tougher draw here, but
There were missed first serves, but quality returns, and this is
Yeah.
really good backhand on the line. The forehand cross court winner return. Yeah, that's. See how long Tironi can keep this up because she now has a game point.
Does Anka Todoni's game remind me of Anna Ivanovic? Not really, to be honest.
No.
Ivanovic was just, very forehand oriented, great ball striker, but yeah, just try to get as much on the inside in, inside out.
The match that will stick with me the most for Anna was the fourth round that she played against Serena at the Australian Open because like every second serve return, she was basically hugging the service box. And
I
I
thought you
went
were going to
to
say Sharapova in Cincinnati. That's my favorite.
oh yeah, the check your blood pressure match, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was definitely iconic. But this one I just remember because of the really aggressive second serve returns and how she would just like hug the service box and like she was doing that to Serena, who's like best server in women's tennis. And like my coach the next day was like just so impressed by it, and then we were working on it in practice. So I always kind of remember that.
Will Fields' superior service game save him if this match goes 5? The superior service game, Ghosty, in this match is definitely with Otto. So, but what might save him? I actually don't know what might save him. Maybe he's gonna start reading it a bit better on return. Who knows? As the match goes on, that's
Favorable
sometimes
for Otto that this is indoors.
physically maybe.
Considering he plays his best tennis indoors. This has to feel nice.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, Fields is good indoors too, and he actually won their only meeting, which was indoors. But if anyone is like more impacted by this, then it's Virtanen.
Yeah. To be honest, I'm really bad at tweener sprays. I've tried them so many times. I just can't do it.
Like, it's the greater Andreeva, indeed.
I prefer to just hit it behind the back, honestly, because I don't know. I'm scared that I'll injure myself going for tweeners.
Yeah, a friend of mine actually. We showed up at a similar, at like the same amateur event at some point, like 5 years ago or something like that. He was in a higher category than me, but anyway, he played, and after like 2 games of the entire event of his first match, he had to call it quits because he injured himself trying to hit a tweener.
I'm not surprised. Yeah.
Unfortunate, but yeah. Personally, I don't really try to go for tweeners either. I think, if you practiced, if you tried, yeah, probably you could make it work. But I feel like at my level, most of the time, I can definitely run around and, just do a much better job. I'm not going to win the point this way, whereas with a tweener, I could like instantly win the point, but I'm much more comfortable just like staying in that rally, neutralizing, and I'm not going to complain about this. By the way, this is just fantastic from Todoni here, as she's now 30 love up in another service game of Kinven. And again, it's kind of like the addition of height on that forehand cross court. It just gives her such an easy ball on the next shot already.
Yeah, and this is so effective. It's breaking Jang's contact point. She double faulted to start the game, by the way, missed another first serve. So I do think there's been a little bit of a drop off in intensity for Jang, and Todoni's done really well to capitalize.
It's some really smart tennis here. This love 15 point it was. Of course, now we'll see if she can actually get to set points from this. If he has more aces, fewer double faults, and better winning percentage, I don't really care. I mean, double faults, yeah, sure, but Virtanen is the better server.
Mentally, this is a tough spot for Jang. First round against quality opponent who has come through qualifying and has come to play. Oh, and also I should also point out she's wearing a sleeve on her right arm, I believe, because she did pull out of the United Cup, right? Jang.
Yep.
So there's like a little bit of question mark with her, like how good was her off season?
Yeah, I mean the reason I think cited was like recovery or something like that. So it clearly wasn't something, too serious. But who knows? It's possible that she didn't have like the full off season. But let's not really look into that. I mean, Todoni is just killing her with these returns right now. Like this is not a set that suddenly got competitive because Kinven is out of
Yeah,
rhythm or something like that.
these second serve returns have been unbelievable. Like this one right here at 15:30. Wow. She
Yeah.
middled that one.
So I don't think it's really like worth talking about Kinven being, maybe
Yeah.
a little short on court time. Who the hell
Actually,
knows?
this is probably something I would have mentioned like at the beginning rather than
Oh yeah, yeah.
now, but I just kind of forgot about it.
Yeah, I wasn't really doing a lead up to Todoni Zheng either. I basically started from Virtanen Fields, and I mentioned that if something interesting is happening in that match, I'll try to switch for a while as well. But I don't think I did like the full, pre-match
Okay.
talk either.
Yeah, that got a little bit complicated for Mira when she was serving at 3-1. And then, Pushkova did really well to scrap through that really long fifth game. But then 3-4, Zhang breaks again. Andreeva breaks again. And then serves it out rather comfortably. So she is through to the second round. And I'm going to look at who she plays because I don't remember after Pushkova. She plays the winner of Uchiyama and Lynette.
Yeah. Seems easy.
Lynette was one of her big wins in that Madrid 2023 run.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. I think she beat Lynette in Madrid. Yeah.
Yeah. It was like Lynette, Fernandez, and one other person.
Haddad Maya?
Yeah, sounds right. Something like that. That was when the whole world became aware of Mira.
Yeah, another great return from Todoni gets her third set point, but Kinven cleans that up with nice. Yeah, I think Mira, like one of my favorite memories for sure is the Australian Open final of that year against Kornieva. Like we're never gonna get a better Grand Slam junior final. But sure, yeah, that Madrid one was just a revelation, obviously, a few months later.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, guys, I understand your concern, Sean, that like if you hit a tweener, the opponent probably volleys it away. I actually think at my level, if I hit a tweener, my opponent would just would be unable to react for the next 20 minutes. So I think a tweener would do just fine. But you gotta practice it. Like you're not just gonna hit it randomly. If you're gonna try to hit it randomly, you're just gonna hit yourself in the nuts.
Oh yeah. It definitely takes practice.
What I like most about Mira's game, I think initially it was the backhand line, like that that final that I just mentioned about against Kornieva. That was probably the standout for me. I think I definitely called it a trademark of hers a few times, but kind of as the development of her career goes on, I think less than any like singular shot. I'm probably just like more excited about. Let's say recently she played Ons, right? And kind of like just how versatile she was in that one. Like all the cat and mouse games from Ons, it's just nothing for Andreeva really. So maybe that's kind of what I started enjoying even more. But I think just initially watching her game, the backhand down the line was the standout for me. I just don't think right now I'm looking at any particular shot as her biggest asset.
For me, I would it's the same. I wouldn't point to a particular shot. It's more like just the maturity and like the breadth of options that she has, and then like knowing when to deploy what. Because in that Ons match is a really good example. Like it was On's shot selection that was doubtful and dodgy at times, and then Mira's was like spot on in terms of like high heavy loopy shots, but then also the slices that would bring Ons in and like the cat and mouse points that Ons is like known for. She was kind of beaten by a more, let's say, like seasoned version of herself at this point, because Ons also was coming back after a long time, like missed 3 or 4 months at the end of last year. But even then, it was nothing like their Australian Open match in 2024 when it was just like Ons was not ready at all. This one, I'm actually excited to see them play again.
69 minutes on the clock in Todoni Zheng, and we're going to get a tiebreak. But by the way, you were definitely not off with the Avanesian comparison. Like the way that the deuce point was played by Todoni, this is very Avanesian-ish. I know she lost it eventually. One of the loopier balls was just a little too short, and Kinven did capitalize, but still, like this was very much the Avanesian style of playing the Chinese number one. So anyway, the tiebreak after 69 minutes. This has been a crazy set.
Training and playing a lot on clay. There's a lot of Romanian players who probably you have this in the repertoire, especially like Simona Halep is a good example. Maybe I'm perhaps generalizing too much by the country, but I would
Maybe because like they have clay specialists like
Yeah.
Begu or Bogdan, but they don't play like this, right?
I think Todoni's best results came on clay though last year, right? She won like a 100, and that was on clay.
Yeah, but she had a Wimbledon run too, right? I mean, it's clear
Did
she's
she
gonna be
did she
fine.
qualify at Wimbledon? Maybe I just don't remember that.
Maybe I'm mixing something up, but didn't she?
I don't think so, but I can check. I didn't even know she wasn't really on my radar too much last year. Oh no, you're right. She did get to the second round there. I mean, she beat Danilovic in the first round. She qualified, beat Danilovic, and then lost to Coco.
Yeah.
2-1. Okay, I didn't remember that.
Yeah, but I mean, otherwise she mostly played on clay. That's true. 43 matches on clay last year. Looks like 11 on hard and 7 on grass. So yeah.
It's coming in with a decent amount of momentum as well. You know,
I actually
winning
don't think
matches in the US.
I've ever seen a hardcourt match from her, to be honest. It's probably my first one. So
Yeah, same. Because I did not watch any of her qualifying. I don't think I watched any bit of the Noshkova match in Brisbane. Or obviously not
yeah,
qualifying, so
yeah, me neither. I don't think I've watched either of these matches that she's played so far.
yeah.
So I don't know
I
why I was
definitely didn't
pretty
watch the Coco
confident
match
about this being
either.
like such a good match. I guess I was just basing this on the Wimbledon run and just never really figured that surfaces will be an issue for her. And I mean, so far, definitely not. I think Kinvan definitely had 3 consecutive set points, and I think it was also 3 for Todoni before this breaker. So this
Yes.
is insane. Over 70 minutes already.
Yes. She saved one of them with an ace, right, Jang?
Yeah, the third one.
Yeah. This is another really aggressive return hand. Love one. She just like steps into the backhand and then so much depth and then flattens out the forehand as well. So she has a good combination of height as well as like just flattening it out as well. So
Yeah, I don't know about the Ivanovic comp, but she's definitely cracking some of these forehands. Jake is kind of continuing with this. By the way, Otto Virtanen is serving for the second set, but Fields has a couple of breakpoints to potentially stop him from getting that lead. Yeah, so far. I mean, yeah, massive 4 points. So I guess I'm switching very quickly on my main screen to Virtanen Fields just to see how the rest of this game goes, as this is like a palpable chance for Otto to just get so far ahead that I don't know if he can catch him, but of course he's gonna double fold breakpoint down. So it's now 5 games all. And well, both matches that we are focusing on here are definitely in very crucial parts, right? Segments of it right now.
Yeah.
Of them, I guess I should have said. Never mind.
Yeah, Virtanen's biggest win by ranking, according to Tennis Abstract, is indeed Mackenzie McDonald. Oh, it's the McDonald match that I was talking about earlier in the September 2023. That's his biggest win by ranking. Amazing. I didn't know. I thought he had another win apart from that. Well, he's
where?
close.
Like, yeah. I don't think he's played any. Well, he played Tommy Paul, obviously. He played Alex de Minaur at another slam, but that was not a good match.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm not sure he really played like any top 50 guys. Echeverry at the US Open, was he in the top 50 in 2023? Maybe. That was a very long one.
Yeah, 2023 US Open, Echeverry.
Yeah, but as you can kind of hear, I mean, he's mostly played the slams because we're just mentioning slam matches and some Davis Cup appearances. But like, yeah, on the ATP Tour, he's still very unseasoned. A bit of a thought that people have about Virtanen is that like if he's going to have these chances, so like play on the ATP Tour for the entire year, he might actually stick around maybe a little more efficiently than some other players because, well, he has got the weapons and it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be that tough for him to kind of just like produce the occasional win.
You see, I just describe him as a player who tends to play up to the level of his competition.
Oh yeah, and also play down sometimes. So it could be one of these players who like struggles to get to the tour, but once he is there, He might be very strong. Anyway, yeah, Nuno Borges 47. That was the Davis Cup match. And actually, that was the Davis Cup match, and also Mackie is is number 39. Yeah, there's more Davis Cup action. Echeverry was number 34 when they played. Hachanov in Almaty last year. Yeah, that was also a big chance for him, number 26. But yeah, from the top 20, he's only played the minor Paul, and now, of course, is facing Arthur Fields.
This is much better serving from Jang in the tiebreak and down set points, so she will be happy to switch ends with a 4-2 lead. I might be behind you, by the way.
Huh?
The tiebreak 4-2 for Jang.
Yeah, I'm still on 4-2 because it's a changeover, so it's going to take a while. But yeah, is Rublev Fonseca 50-50 match? Ramesh is asking. I think bearing the physical intensity question, so like best of 5, yes. But that best of 5 factor might be so important that it's actually not a 50-50 match. But nobody knows what to do with that, as this is a very like...
I was going back and forth so much over that when I was making my picks today and the TNNS app thing that we have in our group chat. And I honestly, I just pulled the trigger. I just went for Fonseca.
I went for Fonseca too.
Yeah.
I don't really like care too much about these brackets. I usually don't check them while the event is going.
True story. I actually did it sitting on the toilet today. So.
Oh, nice. I don't think I did mine sitting on the toilet this time, but Marsh is laughing about it because that's just something I always said before. But yeah, I think this time I did mine in my bed. But yeah, I get that sentiment. And also I
did it an hour before the play started. So like it doesn't let you do it after 4 p.m. Pacific my time. Basically, since when the first ball dropped.
I mean, the start of play. Yeah, you have to do it until the start of play, which makes sense, obviously.
I just realized like, there's this also that I have to do before every. But I don't have to, but like that I usually do before every major.
Yeah, the serving, by the way, is like kind of winning Kinven tiebreak here. She's got 4 set points. What I wanted to say is that today I changed Klein over Korda too because of Korda's up issue. Yeah. I had Korda in the 4th round previously.
Did that flare up in the final? Like at any point?
Yeah.
Was it like in the
hardcore?
Was it in the 3rd set? Or was it like in the beginning as well?
Honestly, kind of from the start, but then the 3rd set was just he was done.
Yeah, it's not great.
Well, Todoni is not liking some of these calls. There was that 4-2 serve from Kinven that barely landed on the line, and she wasn't sure about that. She's also not sure about this one, I think, where there's just so much spin on the Kinven forehand, and it finds the baseline. Todoni basically decided to let the ball fly out. It didn't, so it's a set for Zheng, but it's not just a simple set that you would have been expecting at 5-4 for Nilaf. Let's see if Todoni can get some confidence out of that, basically.
Yeah. Oh man, she looks like she saw a ghost because she didn't try to play on that.
It is a good breaker from Kinven. I agree, Brazy. That's definitely the serving just kind of improved compared to the last 2 service games, even if she was getting some free points in the last 2 service games, but it was just more of a mess. But here, super clean, getting the 3 points that she needed, and she kind of didn't allow Todoni to have much fun here. How do we gauge Brooksby's chances? He hasn't played in forever. Yeah, I just think his chances are next to none. Not playing for 2 years, facing Taylor Fritz here. Even if in the past that was a tricky matchup for Taylor the one time they played. I just don't see it at all.
I didn't realize Korda had that ab taped.
Yep.
Before I think even before he came on court, maybe.
I think so, yeah. I think from the very beginning it was a struggle, and then Phoenix just gave him one horrible service game in the 2nd set. So that was kind of how he won it. I think there were 2 double faults in there as well from the Canadian. And then the 3rd set just kind of, the moment that the early break happened, you just knew that this was done. And because of that issue, I can't really justify getting Korda into the 4th round anymore. Can I justify picking him over Klein? Maybe, but I decided to change that. That's such a massive forehand here, especially considering it's a mini break for Arthur Fils. He's out of position, on the run, still manages to find the down the line corridor, 145 kilometers an hour. Lovely strike as he's got the mini break in the tie break. And unless I said it, I don't think I said it earlier, but yes, they are going into the tie break. Obviously, Otto served for a 2-set to love lead, but Fils has since managed to restore that and now is trying to just keep himself from that 0-2 deficit, which could be crucial.
Yes, I've just seen the forehand on the 9-minute that Feast hit to get the mini break.
Some of these like backhand cross-court exchanges here between the players are also very interesting. It's mostly about who gets to the forehand first in them, but not in this very case, as it's Virtanen making the error in a point like this. And if Fils can get just one more point and go 4-1 up, he'll be in a very good spot to potentially take this set. After this is over, I want to go back and rewatch the 5-4 game when Fils broke back, because I only saw the double fault that Virtanen made on break point. And I'm very interested to see what happened there overall, whether Otto gave it to him or not.
Yeah, I'm gonna do the same because I missed that part, and I was watching Jang.
Well, that's one of the beauties and also the cons of the early rounds at the slams. There's just so much to watch, even with just 3 matches here, even with just 3 courts under the roof.
Yeah. I kind of just, that's why I love the 3rd and 4th round a lot, because it's like this, but
Yeah,
but not
I kind of like the fact though that this is like happening at such a weird hour that like no there's no challengers at the same time either. So yeah,
nice.
I can just kind of keep watching this, and especially now that there's a rain delay, I would be watching only these 2 matches anyway. So it's a perfect watch along time for me, I suppose. Second week of Islam is where I start kind of turning off my attention for sure. Maybe not the 4th round yet.
Well, I joked about this already, but whatever night session the Sinner versus de Minaur quarterfinal will be, I know I'm getting good sleep that night.
Unfortunately, you might as well also go sleep during the semifinals against Taylor Fritz if Fritz makes it there. Anyway, Fils was that he had that 4-1 lead, but now it's back to 4-all. He just makes a very cheap forehand error. Literally, it was all about making the return there for Otto, so it's gonna be cagey once more. Anytime Arthur Fils blows a small lead in a tiebreak, you know which match I'm thinking of right now. Do you?
The Shelton one in Tokyo?
Yeah. No, not Tokyo. Basel.
Oh yeah. Basel, was that a semi quarter?
Quarter, I think, because Shelton then lost. No, actually semi.
Yeah. Well, they also played in the Tokyo quarters. So.
Yeah, but there was a 5-0 lead for for Fils in that breaker in Basel, and he lost it. Either way, at 5-4, he manages to get on top of the point. Virtanen just trying to come up with some wild lob, but it's not going to be in. So 2 set points for Fils now. This would be massive for him, especially considering Virtanen was serving for the 2 sets to love lead. It's going to be more double faulting from Otto. Nope. but it's not like it's going to be easy to win the point either way. He's suddenly defending very well from the backhand corner, and we know that when that happens, this is probably where he's going to be at his strongest. And in fact, he gets the break, he gets the mini break, he gets the set, and it's now 1-all, as this match is kind of just starting, really. It's a best of 3 from here. Ben Rothenberg is clapping his hands. By the way, I mean, credit where it's due. I think Ben at this Australian Open has been doing a very fine job so far.
With the reporting?
Yeah. So if you want to check out some of his work, he's got like this whole new thing.
Is it called the bounces?
Yeah, bounces. Some of it is paywalled. I haven't paid, but some of it is not. And yeah, it's actually been pretty interesting content. Sometimes pretty niche.
Okay. I haven't checked it out, but I will do that. Yeah, I'm going back to watching the fight for. I'm going back.
Yeah, I'm actually in the already in there. Virtanen won the first point too. So
yeah, the forehand winner down the line. Wow, he really went after that.
Well, looks like it's actually not, the double fault. Obviously, it happened breakpoint down, so that's not what Otto wanted there. But otherwise, it looks like it's just very strong returning from Arthur. Like return one punches.
Serve. There was a first serve that you managed to get cross court, and it's right on the heels of Otto, and then the forehand inside in just takes over. I feel like Feast's forehand heaviness was much better towards the end of the set because he was allowed to actually step in and do some damage.
Yeah. It looks like it's just return 1-2 punches left and right for Arthur in that game. So yeah, it wasn't just handed to him. Besides the breakpoint, obviously. He personally spoke to Goran, right? I think he did. Yeah, Brazy. That was an example of content we wouldn't have gotten otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
Ghosty is like very intent on getting Arthur Fils through. I see. Very disrespectful towards Virtanen.
Sometimes I kind of look at Feast and I'm like, wow, like the explosiveness and the build reminds me of Songa, but then he's got a much better backhand than Songa when he's trying to be offensive with it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean it's an easy comparison to make for sure, and I think it fits. Some people would say that it's just a Frenchman who's this skin color, but no, I mean it's more about the athleticism and kind of the explosive power of that forehand.
Yeah,
not as strong a server as Joe, but maybe that's also coming for him in the future. Who knows?
Yeah, Joe was an elite server. He had his spots. And then he also his forehand was also a lot flatter. Feast is like all about the heavy topspin.
Yeah, I wonder where Tsonga was on all these graphs, but definitely not in the far right corner of Arthur Fils. But I think Tsonga's forehand would probably still be like at least middle of the tour in terms of spin.
Middle, I would say probably. Oh yes, he had the one-handed backhand, but that was mostly for passing shots.
Yeah, that's something Arthur isn't doing, and I guess it's probably for the better.
No, but yeah, his sliding backhand is very good when he's defending with it.
Yeah, that match he played against Menchik at the Next Gen Finals. It's very weird to come back to this because obviously as a whole that event was a big fail for Arthur, or at least if we assume that he actually cared about winning it. But and yeah, I think from that second match onwards he did. But in that match against Menchik, that was maybe the best day I've seen from him in terms of just backhands from every position, as in 3 meters out the court, and he still finds something incredible on the pass there. His best offensive backhand day might be the Hurkacz one still.
I was just about to mention the Hurkacz match because that was when I'd seen him just, blow for blow, just outgunning Hubie in that ground stroke.
if we get that version of Fields more often this year, there's going to be more. There's just going to be more in terms of his results. That's all I'm going to say. I don't know how far, I don't know how high, but this is going to be more coming. And also more coming in Australia, as right now on the third court, we have Kei Nishikori and Tiago Monteiro on the court.
Oh, yeah.
By the way, I do believe that Silky has gone to sleep. That was his plan, and he hasn't said anything in the chat in a while. But that was literally his plan, that like he was gonna just put on the score for us, and then I'm probably gonna wrap up the stream. So wait, Jake, who are you talking about? Oh, Kinven. Okay. I just think it's a fundamental power game without the versatility in other areas. Feel her forehand contact point can be rushed versus other power hitters too. I mean, definitely agreeing with the last point. You know, she's got a pretty horrible matchup so far with Sabalenka, Rybakina, with Świątek, and it's pretty much for some of these reasons for sure. Is it just like a fundamental power game? There's a lot of spin on that forehand. It's like kind of more interesting and versatile than this, I guess. But you know, I don't disagree with you that like seeing her win this slam, for example, right now, to me it's a little out of the question, because if she faces someone of the top four, and by top four I mean Rybakina, not Paolini, in the final, like I just don't see her really troubling that player. And that's been the case for her so far in like pretty much all the big matches. Other than, of course, Świątek, the Olympics, the semi, but we know that that was Iga like completely succumbing to the pressure, so it was also different. She's all surface too. Like, okay, grass, she might still need to learn some movement, etc. But like, yeah, I think she's gonna be a top player for a long, long while. Probably pick up a slam somewhere.
She was missing that, or I mean, she was winning that match against Lulu Sun for like a set, and she had 3 break points to go up 2-1 in the set, and then Sun won it 6-2, 6-4. But the third
Which
set was
round
pretty
was that?
competitive, and it was the first round, Wimbledon.
Yeah, I thought
So
so.
I didn't think she was that far off, because the loss actually aged well.
I mean, sure. I think there was also this season like 2 years ago when Kinven played well in the warm-ups, but then at Wimbledon, no, the other way around. In the warm-ups, I think she looked like a cow on ice on grass, and then at Wimbledon, she actually started playing pretty well. So, you know, it's probably coming too, even if it's not going to be the most natural court for her, as Jake is mentioning rightly about her forehand. It does like the time on clay, especially.
She did get the early break here in the second set.
Yeah, hopefully it's not just a match that is kind of like decided by that opening set. But even if it is, we did get a lot of intrigue out of that. So I'm already quite satisfied with Todoni's performance there, not gonna lie.
Was there something wrong with Otto in that forehand on the run that he just hit? Looked like he just kind of slapped the ball across court.
The slap a second ago? No, I think he was just out of position and kind of just went for a super low margin shot. That's my guess, at least.
Yeah. I'm gonna keep an eye to see how he looks physically, but I don't think for now he looks okay.
What's the latest on Ryba's coach situation? I think we already mentioned that basically there's an investigation. He's not going to be allowed into the Australian Open, and that's kind of all there is to say for now. I mean, Elena clearly wants him on the team. Goran might be left out at some point if that happens, because that part of the like free person agreement isn't really working for now, or at least it's surprising to some parties. And also, which slam do you think Kinven could win first? I mean, the very natural answer would be Roland Garros, but there's a certain problem, and that problem lies in my very country, although right now it lies in Australia, and that's Iga Świątek. And maybe that changes the whole thing. So maybe the US.
maybe. But right now she has to start at least doing better in the Sabalenka matchup and beating those top four more regularly for me to be like sold that she's gonna win a major.
Yep. I think she will at some point though. Like I don't really see a universe where she's completely falling off the top to an extent where she's not gonna be at least like in the second tier, third tier of contenders.
No, right now she looks like a perennial top 5 to 8. Like it looks like she's gonna
Yeah.
keep being in the top 5, yeah, like top 5 actually. Like she could like I think I literally predicted that she'd finish year end number 5 again.
Sometimes we maybe kind of just tend to overrate a little like how many players can actually stay at that top level for so long.
Yeah.
But even if she like falls out of the top 10, she's still gonna be like in that second tier of players who can actually fire up for a slam and win a tournament. So I think over the course of her career, it's pretty likely that she's gonna get it done. Maybe the US is the best chance. Just avoid Sabalenka, and she's done very well there the last 2 years. But again, Sabalenka has been demolishing her. For now, she would need the draw to open up. Maybe in a couple of years she won't. Who knows? That was actually a very important point from Virtanen here. He saves the break point, and that was with some very good defense. So, it's not what you usually want from him, or like actually not want, but what you usually see from him. But the guy has that grinder mode. He is sometimes turning on, and that's when we see basically the most focused, the most consistent version of his game. And while he is definitely just struggling to keep up a little bit at the moment with Fields, just getting some of these serve games done, it can still keep him afloat. What's the basis of the investigation? Have they explained why? I mean, I don't think they've explained too much, but basically a lot of people in the tennis community there at events, so like other coaches, have been raising concerns, which Rybakina doesn't seem to be supporting.
Yeah, most notably it's Pam Shriver, who obviously experienced some emotional was in a relationship like 30, 40 years ago with a similar kind of dynamic. So she's gone through that experience, and she believes that similar thing might be happening with Jang and or sorry, did I just say Jang? No, I meant Rybakina and Vukov. But yeah, I think Elena said in the press conference today that she doesn't like how Pam is an active coach commentator, and she's saying these things out in public without speaking to me.
Unfortunately, Ghosty, I think that's exactly what the basis of this investigation is. So that's why it's
But
that's why
at
I
the
don't
same
really want
time,
to go into too
Pam,
much.
it's not like she just said it out of the blue. Like she's coaches Donna Beckett. She's I know she's like part of like the whole WTA safeguarding thing. She's definitely like been advocating for it for a long time. So she definitely knows some things that we don't know. Sitting here for sure.
Yeah. I like the wanna be starting something reference. That was good. Anyway.
Oh, it looks like there's some injury kind of thing going on with Tadoni at this changeover at 3-Love. Is it like her back or something? She's getting some kind of treatment, or maybe I think this is just a medical assessment. It's a lower back issue, it appears. And Kinman has just run off the court as well. So yeah, this doesn't look too good. She's already down 3-Love.
Things aren't looking too great for Virtanen as he still can't get out of this game. It's a second breakpoint for Fields. Great body serve from Otto, but he still is going to have to clean up this point, and he will not. Just extending this by even one more shot was enough to eventually make him miss that forehand cross, and Fields now has the break in the third set. Definitely a huge shift of momentum in this match since Otto was serving for the second set, and Arthur came up with these three pretty great returns in a row to put him under pressure, and that pressure has only been like amounting to even more and more since that game.
Yeah, I feel like Arthur, since the middle to the end of the second set, he's really kind of locked in defensively in both the corners. Like he's
Yeah.
just staying so much lower. Like it just looks like him getting that extra one or two shots back is making the difference in some of these rallies.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
then
even
able
this
to get the
even
forehand
this
in.
break point, he gets a very tough serve at the body. Like the return is poor,
Yeah,
but Virtanen has cleaned up so many of these like +1 inside in forehands so far. And this time, Fizz just, I guess, anticipates it better and also is super quick, of course, as
yeah,
usual. And even just this one more shot is enough.
yeah. Yeah, I thought the return was really poor, but then he was so quick to recover to the middle and then anticipate the inside in, and then just getting that one extra ball back is pretty huge on some of these big points.
Reality is all, a lot of the time, that's all you need to do against Otto.
Yeah, you got to be able to neutralize his first strike tennis, and then get into those longer rallies, and then use your athleticism, which like Feast has such a big edge. So okay, so it looks like she's getting a timeout, Chidoni. So it is indeed the lower back. She's getting worked on it on the court. Hopefully, this doesn't end in retirement, but either way, it's difficult to see her coming back or making this set competitive, to be honest.
Yeah, it's very possible the match is just done right there. She did give a fantastic account of herself in the late first set, but yeah, now her situation is just not looking great whatsoever. Kei Nishikori stuck with Tiago Monteiro at 2-all in the opening set. Any thoughts about that one? I mean, obviously Kei is like the better player, let's say, but maybe Monteiro can keep it close and then maybe outlast him physically or something like that.
Yeah, maybe, or we get one of those classic Kei Nishikori 5-setters that he just somehow pulls through, or then extends his record, and then we're all like amazed again that he's like the best in the open era. No, but I think it should be good. I think it's going to be pretty competitive. I'm giving a slight edge to Nishikori, but obviously Montero has that kind of game that can just put K on the back foot, especially on the returns and stuff, and some of the forehand down the lines. Because Nishikori sometimes as a front runner, he can falter in matches, and then sometimes obviously the serve is not the biggest weapon. So, and he's still like not. I mean, he's mostly back, but then obviously the body is pretty fragile. And
I mean, Nishikori is just gonna go 2 sets to love up. He's gonna lose the next 2 sets just conserving energy, and then he's gonna run away with it in the fifth. It's Gabriel Diallo all over again, the French last year. But yeah, to me, that's not a given that he's going to win, not because he doesn't have better shots still, but I don't know. We saw what was happening in Hong Kong, how he fights through that Nori match, even though in the third set he's really down physically and suddenly just starts slapping the ball a bit more. But the Miller one, he only really has one set of good tennis in him. It's happening all the time now, so it's not going to be a given from here that Kei just is going to roll over an opponent like Monteiro. Even if Monteiro on hard courts has a pretty questionable record, but a good qualifying campaign nonetheless. Kubler, Royer, Copians. I know it's not like, there's no like top name there, but literally every round is difficult. It's not like he had
what were the odds with him and Kubler? Because that seems like that's a good win, right? I mean,
come again?
What were the odds against
pretty
him?
much even. Pretty much even.
Yeah, it seems 50-50, like on paper. So
yeah, I thought Kubler was the favorite. Kubler actually had 2 set points to take it to the decider, so you don't really know what would have happened from there. But I think against Royer, Thiago won in 2 sets, like 7-6, 6-4 or something like that, and he only had 1 break point and he converted it, whereas he saved like 6 out of 6 or something like that. So yeah, there were some, nuggets, let's say, in that qualifying campaign that maybe make it stand out a bit less when you actually look into the details. But still, Kubler, Royer, Kopians, I think it's just a very difficult draw because you don't get that one easy round at some point. You don't get that Australian wildcard. You don't get that fellow clay quarter at some point. You just get a tough opponent every single match.
Maybe he's that Bellucci type who'll just do something in the golden swing or like, maybe win some matches there, get the ranking up.
Yeah, it's never really happened for him at the Golden Swing, unfortunately. I always kind of had this feeling that, like, when he won Tsonga in 2000, when he beat Tsonga in 2016 in Rio, I was like, okay, this guy's gonna win a Golden Swing event in his career. And I think a lot of like worse, in quotes, a lot of worse players have done that since.
Yeah.
So like Juan Manuel Cerundolo, so like Juan Ignacio Londero, and etc. And yet Monteiro is still staying, well, not even title-less, but final-less.
I kind of totally forgot about the Juan Manuel thing because that was his first. That was like his peak.
Yes, it is. For now, at the very least. I thought maybe Juan Ignacio Londero.
He did actually take a set off of. He did take a set off of Alcaraz in the next gen finals, and that was the only set that Alcaraz lost.
I think Alcaraz lost 2 sets.
Oh, he did? Okay, I don't remember.
I think he did, but I'm not positive about that. Anyway, Virtanen kind of keeps falling into some trouble here again. There's a double fault to go down breakpoint, but he saves it with an ace. So it's like, again, a classic Virtanen sequence of points. Double fault, ace. And what's coming next? We don't really know, but just mentally, he is looking a little bit more all over the place right now.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. He did only lose 1 set, and that was against Rondolo in the second match.
1 set the entire event?
Yep.
I thought he lost 1 more at some point, but okay. Never mind then.
He played 2 tie breaks against Nakashima.
Oh, maybe that's what. Yeah, I think I was thinking about the matchup against Brandon.
Yeah, of course, that's where the point of the decade happened. So I'm going to check that out.
Match of the decade, Sinner Bolt, Wimbledon qualifying. Point of the decade, Alcaraz Nakashima.
Okay, so it looks like Chidoni might be able to continue here.
Well, Virtanen holds in the end, still keeping himself in this, but definitely I think he's looking a little bit more, I don't know, just tends to press a bit more now. I wonder how much he truly believes in himself winning this third set, but it's Virtanen. He does kind of go up and down in intensity.
Oh, and actually suddenly there's a little bit of a drop for Jang. Here, she looks a little bit flat. 15 all, she misses this backhand. 15-30 second serve. Still up 3-1, but looks so suddenly a little bit dicier than it did.
Yeah, not gonna congratulate you, Ghosty, on this finish pun. We've already done that many times, but there's a lot of good ones with this nation,
By the way, something is going to be interesting to see. How does the location of the coaching box impact some of the, like, how does it look on broadcast and everything? Of course, I can't really hear audio right now, but I think the coaching box is like closer to the court this year. And it's like almost more of a United Cup feel.
Okay. I mean, they've been showing the coaches for both players quite a ton here. Obviously, there's a lot of familiar names in the fees box, but also Jan de Witt for Virtanen. And I guess, at least Jan de Witt is like sitting almost courtside, I think, whereas the fees box is much larger and kind of more a traditional stand. But I mean, there's just, big name after big name there. Grosjean, Mathieu, Ljubicic, of course, feels his dad, kind of familiar figure too.
Yeah. Well, by the way, Montero is up a break in the first set, and he just saved a break point with this backhand pass that he hit right at Kay's shoelaces, and Kay missed the volley.
Yeah, I think Thiago has won an Australian Open match in the past, but definitely a rare occurrence for him to win outside of Roland Garros at Grand Slam level. So it would be pretty massive.
What's the best win Montero's had in his career?
Tsonga is one of the top 10 wins, but he has 5 top 10 wins. He recently won 4 top 10 wins against 4 top 10 opponents in a row. Rune at Davis Cup is number 4, so I think that well, actually it's Alcaraz in Rio.
Okay.
But out of the completed matches, that would be Rune at Davis Cup, because he also has that Tsonga win in Rio. He also has Tsitsipas last year in Madrid, and he also has Ruud last year in Bostad. So ranking-wise, it would be Rune at Davis Cup, unless we count the Alcaraz match, which we probably shouldn't, but it does count as a top 10 win.
Okay. So
he basically had one top 10 win in 2016, and then he had to wait 7 years for another one. But when he did, he won 4 in a row.
I remember how dominant one of the wins was, and that was the Tsitsipas Madrid performance. That was just blowout, 6-4, 6-4. It wasn't even close.
Yeah, I think both Bostad and Madrid, the wins over Steph and Casper, they were very similar. Just came out, crushed every ball, and everything was working on the day.
Yeah.
Had a very strong Rome Madrid swing last year too. Just, yeah, perhaps it would be a very good way to just kind of put a cherry on top in his career with that Golden Swing title somewhere. Preferably, of course, Rio, but that's an ATP 500, so that's a little bit more tricky. But that would be at home at least. So.
Virtanen just won a 14-shot rally and did some good defense there. So it's saved the game point.
That's a good one, actually, with the refinement. I don't hate that. It's a little forced, but I haven't heard that yet, so that's good. I mean, so what that Otto has 7 DFs? I mean, he's trying to go very aggressively with his second serve. Thoughts on the young lad Monfils winning another title? I mean, great for him. He didn't even make a final last year, which is very rare for his career. Do I expect much from him at the Australian Open? Nope. But maybe he can still pick up a few 250s here or there. Basically, that seems to be like what can keep him alive in the rankings at the moment.
He also had that scare in the opening round where he was 6-1, 5-2 down against Pedro Martinez. He comes back.
Yeah. Both Bergs and Monfils had a pretty rough situation in their openers. So I guess it was just one of these events right before a slam that delivers unexpected winners, even if in this case the winner that was unexpected had already triumphed many, many times. I mean, speaking of flat as a pancake, I don't know if we said anything about that, but that back and down the line from Virtanen, I kind of want to see a replay of it. Like, from the position of the former net umpire. So I don't understand how physically that got over the net. But yeah, this time it should be a quick routine hold for Virtanen. It seems we're coming close to 2 hours on the clock in this encounter. And of course, it's Fils currently up a break in the third set. In fact, it's an ace from Virtanen to clean up the game, so it's 3-4 now. I have an affinity for both guys, I think, but sure. Thank you. Thoughts on Searle against Durasovic today? I'll be surprised if Vansh watched it. But my thoughts were, I don't know, Durasovic was just a tiny bit more solid. Of course, he had the 2 set points before the first set tiebreak, where Henry was just coming up with clutch serves time and time again. But then a very good deficit from 1-4 in the tiebreak. He erased the deficit, Durasovic, by just locking in, being more consistent of the ground. I think he's actually been doing that very well. He was doing that very well the entire week against like players who are slightly bigger ball strikers than him. He wasn't maybe relying on his usual strengths, but actually counterpunching, defending well too. And that's how he got the tiebreak win. He was then horribly cheated in the second set. The foot fault call is a joke. I know I said on Twitter that, and I agree with myself, obviously, that like the line umpire has a better angle. But I think even from the angle of the camera, we can say that this is just a terrible, terrible call. I'm not suspecting any like, malpractice, if you may, but no, this
What
was
match was
definitely
what?
not a foot
Who
fault.
was that against? I
Settle
think I
against
remember saying
Durasovic today, the final in Nottingham.
that. Okay, okay.
And then, of course, the third set, I guess I like how Victor handled the whole foot fault thing, that like he didn't really question it and he kept going. He kept applying the pressure in the third set and Henry folded. Fine, still fine, a fine run for the Brit, obviously, 18 years of age, making his first challenger final, not really coming close to that achievement before. But Durasovic, like, this is literally his career defining week for the most part. I mean, probably. So
This is the only challenger he's won, right?
yeah, he had one final in 2019 in Portoros, losing to Alias Bedene. And then for the last 5.5 years, I think he only made one semi-final, which I was watching live in Vilnius 2022. He beat Mahac along the way, probably one of the best matches of his career. He lost to Mattia Bellucci, and now he came back to the semis after 3 years and to the final, well, 2.5 years, and to the final after 5.5 years. And he wins the title. He breaks his career high as well. So just massive.
Wow. And he's in the 400s. So that'd be like almost like Lafayette winning a challenger.
Come again? Sorry.
He's ranked in somewhere in the 400s, right?
Yeah, 410 or something like that, and now he's gonna jump to 270, which his previous career high used to be 298.
Yeah.
And
See,
I
if
always thought
Durasovic
it was a
can do it.
massive joke.
If
But
Durasovic can do
anyway,
it, then Lafayette can do it too.
I very much disagree with that. I mean, Durasovic is a really I think he could play Grand Slam qualifying. Like that's kind of the level where I think he could easily cap it.
Oh,
If I
yeah,
don't know, his career
that would
just
be a
went a bit
stretch
better.
that'd be a stretch for Aini right now.
Right
But man,
now, yeah.
if he I don't know, US Open, like if he can get somehow into the qualifying, he'd have to be
Maybe,
like,
I guess. Yeah, he'd need like very strong results at the challenger level, but maybe.
yeah. Oh, okay, yeah. We also have Perry versus Vekic today, as Jake mentioned in the chat, and we also have Tosin versus Noshkova, which should be very intriguing. Jang, by the way, as predicted, is like very much running over Todorian right now, serving for it at 5-1. Looks like the physicality of that first set really caught up to the Romanian. But this was a very fine showing indeed. Ghosty continues with those auto puns.
Do you think that Ghosty, is just such a person who just doesn't know when to finish?
Hmm. Definitely.
I hope that Virtanen doesn't have to play Goffin. It doesn't make sense with the pronunciation, but with the spelling it does.
Ooh, that was actually. Ooh, this is quite an entertaining cat and mouse rally right here. The second point of the 9th game, and Feast comes out on top. But initially, it was Virtanen who tried the inside-out forehand drop shot. Feast got to it and then bunted it back with a deep slice, and then they just played this cat and mouse points that I thought Feast was going to finish earlier, but Virtanen stayed in it, and this was an entertaining point. But Feast was mostly on top after he got that first initial drop shot. Oh wow, yeah, there's some good stuff. Virtanen, both players have to do quite a lot of running, and then finally on the 16th shot, it's the backhand volley that does the trick for Feast. And yeah, Jang is through to the next round. So her title defense continues. Or sorry, final defense. And she'll play either Sigmund or
That's gonna be
Baptiste.
next year. That's gonna be next year. Yeah, I don't know because about the coaching thing you said. In terms of the they're not showing him from like a wide angle, but it does seem like he's sitting very close to courtside. Actually, I think I see him on the wide angle, and yeah, he's pretty much courtside, so kind of like United Cup. I think
Yeah.
the Fields box might be in a more traditional spot.
Yeah, I remember Blair Henley posted a photo of like where it is, and it's like very close to the, like not on the court, but it's like way closer to United Cup than traditionally what it's been. So I wonder how that will be on the broadcast, if you can actually hear more than just come on, vamos, let's go. It's like you're gonna actually hear more tactical stuff. Of course, the coaches also have like their iPads and everything, and I don't know. Maybe they will just be. Maybe I guess they're just leaning more into the coaching now than they ever have.
Yeah, I'm sorry to tell you that, Jake, but I don't think Perry and Vekic are coming up. I mean, Oh, actually, no, they're coming up on the main court. Oh, never mind. I'm stupid. Sorry. It's almost 4 a.m. and I am already starting to go blank sometimes. Anyway, okay, so Petkovic made the same, small error as you did. Quarterfinalist, nice. Maybe at Wimbledon.
Wait, so sorry. So after this, it's not. I thought it was Rudering and Munar.
I don't know. Jake said that it's Perry, Vekic. I don't know.
Because on Rod Laver it says yeah, it's Rude and Munar after the Shang
Oh,
match. I think
okay.
Perry Vekic is Perry Vekic is scheduled for after Feast Virtanen on Margaret Court.
Okay. Then yeah, then it's not
Oh,
coming up
that's okay. He says
to.
follow Shang. Okay, I get it.
Well, it actually follows Virtanen Fields, though, I think, from the schedule I'm looking at.
Follows Shang. Yeah, no, it's so yeah, it's. I said it right initially. Rude and Munar is next. Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess I
think,
was.
I think Jake got it mixed up.
Yes, it's going to be after Virtanen Fields, so it's not coming quite yet. Unfortunately for you, this is not a best of 3 match. Perhaps also unfortunately for me, considering it's the hour is starting to take its toll. But maybe it will help me survive even further into the day. I definitely don't want to go to bed yet, considering all the action we have in store. Anyway, Arthur Fils serving for the third set. There was that break at the beginning of the set, essentially. What was it? 1-1, I think, when Virtanen lost his serve, and since then, Fils has just been cruising towards the finish line. I think the last few games, Virtanen did show quite a bit of motivation to try to get something going, but so far has been unable to. And now Fils is just 2 points away from a 2-1 lead, which is such a massive, of course, difference compared to where he was an hour ago. with Virtanen serving for the second set, and that's another wild forehand error from Otto, just like one step forward, and he would be in
I actually,
great position.
I actually think, Jake, that Ruud and Munar is going to be somewhat competitive. I think Munar definitely has a chance to, well, at least win a set. Maybe even push it to a fifth. I mean, the last time Ruud and Munar played, Munar actually won in Tokyo.
Yeah, 6-3, 6-3. Their only hardcore meeting, and they only won that drama one.
Mhm.
Who is the highest tosser? Del Bonis, yeah.
Yeah,
I think
I
Del
totally
Bonis has
missed.
to be the answer. What's the
Uh,
longest stream I've ever done? Brazy, actually, this is going to be a wild answer, but it will be like 15 hours because you probably weren't watching the channel yet, I think at least. But in Australia 2023, John invited me and Mario to Bonn, so where the town in Germany where he's living. And basically we had this like camp, if you may. So me and Mario were in Bonn for the week, and we were essentially watching, from on a few days at least, from the very start of play, we were doing a stream all the way until the end. 15? No, I wanted to say 15. Anyway, I don't know, maybe I messed up, maybe something. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is that we were watching from the very start of play to the end. And there was this day where Mari and Kokinakis, right, were playing
oh,
until
okay,
like
yes.
6 p.m. GMT,
I
I think
think
it
I
was 6
remember you telling me
p.m.
that.
our time it
Was,
was.
was Jack also there with you guys?
No, I mean, he was sometimes on the streams as in
Oh,
like,
okay, okay, okay. Yeah, like
joined.
online, yeah, of course. He
Yeah.
was just
Some
joining in.
people from the Talking Tennis community were joining online from time to time, but mostly it was just me, Mario, and John. And I think at least 15 hours on one of the days probably happened. It was rough. It was a nightmare to get through sometimes. Like there were literally moments when you had a small crisis and had to survive. Um, John was going to sleep sometimes. We were just sleeping. I think me and Mario, in the evening. That was kind of we were sleeping from maybe like 6 p.m. to midnight our time, and that was probably our sleeping time most of the week. But honestly, it took its toll. When I came back to Poland, I had like over the course of the second week of the Australian Open, I was experiencing some very real issues. I can't really describe it too well, but when I was falling asleep, I just had this like I don't know, my eyelid was still moving, and there was like this
Oh
like
gosh.
noise I was hearing. Yeah, it
Well,
was it took its toll on my
apart
health, to be
from
honest.
the
Oh,
final, if you skipped the entire second week of that tournament, I don't think you missed that much. Apart
sorta.
from the
I mean,
women's final.
there was Rude against not Rude, Rune against Rublev. That was a great match.
Oh, okay, yeah, I guess that counts as second week because that was the fourth round.
Yeah, that counts for
Yeah,
me as the
yeah.
second week, as in I think I was there in Bonn until Saturday. So I already watched Świątek Rybakina in Poland. My flight was a bit delayed, and I got like right in time to watch Świątek Rybakina. I got back home right around this time. So basically, it wasn't healthy, no. But last year, I think I had a much better grip on like the Australian Open as a whole. Of course, I wasn't in Bonn and we weren't streaming for 15 hours, but I was basically just napping a lot before play began for the day. And if I can manage to, I'll probably try to do something similar this year as well. Because last year I didn't feel any like negative consequences of just barely sleeping for 2 weeks. Whereas yeah, there I actually was struggling to like even fall asleep when I came back to Poland. I was very tired, but I couldn't fall asleep because of some of these things that I just mentioned. So yeah, it was far from healthy. John also didn't like keep that idea up. The idea was honestly a bit of a fail, as in like no one was watching these streams. The hours weren't great for most of our audience at the time.
Yeah.
And while I mean I remember Ghosty joining us a lot, Jane as well was here today. She was there plenty of times. So some of these like friends from the chat that I made back then, they are still on the channel, and I love this because this is just something pretty wild to me. That because at the time like I didn't know these people. At the time I was just like a very rare talking tennis correspondent or whatever, however you want to call it. And then I just appear there for like 6 days for 10 hours every single day. And yeah, a lot of you guys that I met then, you are still here. So I think that's amazing in terms of building a community. So even though the viewing numbers were low, I don't think it was a fail in that sense. But in general, I think John was just expecting maybe a little bit more attention based on something like this, it's a crazy idea like that. And we didn't really get it. Like, really, the numbers were very, very low at the time. So he obviously wasn't like following it up the next year, but it was a fun exercise anyway. It was the only time I met Mario live, and well, with John, we've now seen each other a few times, but also was my first meeting with John.
Well, speaking of watch-alongs, actually, first of all, everybody in this chat, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the Iga and Carlos Tennis Show. That is on YouTube now, and we posted 3 YouTube videos. Our most recent is the Australian Open draw preview for the men's and women's. We also have a show with Gil Gross. Do check that one out, as that was a big, Carlos Alcaraz centric season as a whole episode. That was a lot of fun, and yeah, we're gonna keep that going. And actually, John was texting me, and he was like, you guys should do a live watch along for one of Iga and Carlos's matches. See how it goes for the channel. And I was like, yeah, that's not a bad idea, especially if we want to get our subscriber count up. So
yeah, that's definitely not a bad idea. If we can find a suitable match, definitely, I think that sounds like a real yeah. It's 4 a.m. Sorry guys, I'm losing sometimes
Yeah,
track
you're-
of what I'm saying, but yeah, I do think that's a solid idea. Well, Otto Virtanen got the first game on the board in the 4th set, so let's see if he can produce any sort of a fight back here. Since Fields broke in the 2nd set when Otto was serving for the 2 sets to love lead, the momentum has been very much with the Frenchman. As we said earlier, he's extending the points much, much, much better now. And just in general, doing a lot of damage on return, kind of pressuring Otto way more than he is pressuring himself.
Yeah. Oh, hello, John, by the way, who was joining us last time as well. And John, of course, the Arsenal fan on Twitter.
When you said John, I was like, is the producer back? But no, it's the Canadian John. It's the Arsenal John.
Yeah. Well, Canadian tennis on a high now, I guess, because Felix won a title. First one outdoors.
How can you be watching an NFL playoff game when the day 1 of Australian Open is happening? I guess only 3 matches though, and I don't know if any of them were in your thread. I think Virtanen Fields might have been. By the way, that thread from John about like best matches of the Australian Open, it like blew up completely.
Mm-hmm.
Like 600 likes or something like that, I think.
Yeah.
When I saw this matchup, I was like, okay, this could be tricky for Fields. Yeah, I mean, you don't want to play Virtanen in the opening round. You probably don't want to play him in the 2nd round either, or well, you probably want to play him in the final, semis, or quarters. But yeah, just a nightmare since you don't get that much rhythm, and if he's serving well, there's not that much you can do, generally speaking. The only one saving grace that there was here is that Virtanen's physical state was a little in question. I don't think it really has like shined through at all so far. The fact that he had a rough December and didn't play a warm-up match, I think from the start he was kind of on it, but right now it's kind of all about whether he can still keep up that intensity, focus, and be able to keep troubling Arthur to potentially get something going from here. It's a clumsy volley, but
hopefully people understand the kind of joke that I'm about to make. But on center court right now, Paul Mescal is on the court and he's taking on Jerry Seinfeld. Wow. Okay.
Well, let me even remember who is playing on the court. Oh, Casper and Munar, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if I get it, to be honest. I don't know who Paul Mescal is. That's my problem,
Oh,
kind of.
okay. Yeah, no, he's a very famous actor.
Yeah.
I don't know, very famous, but
Well, yeah. Apparently not very famous, since I don't know who he is.
yeah, doppelgangers.
Hmm. Maybe. I guess Munar works, yeah, but Paul Mescal. I'm seeing his face now. Apparently, he's like an actor who plays right now, which makes sense because I don't know any movies post 2010. So
Yeah, there was this movie called After Sun that I watched last month, and he was in that.
yeah,
And
he
then,
started playing in movies in 2021. That's why I have
and then
no chance of knowing him.
and there was a TV show during COVID on Hulu called Normal People. So he was in that too. Those are the two things I've seen him in. But
Yeah, fair. Yeah, I haven't seen any of that. Kind of stopped watching movies and TV series at 2015. Like right now, I'm watching Prison Break, for example. 20 years after its release, I just decided, yeah, maybe it's time to finally catch it, and I am enjoying it.
Right
Although,
now
to be
I'm
honest,
watching.
the formula is kind of, like the first season, yeah, cool. You can see what they're going for. The second kind of keeps it interesting, but by the third, I mean, how many times can you escape from certain situations, and how many times can you do sort of like the same plot twists, and basically everybody is double crossing everybody, and it's all the same fake outs, as in like they kind of film it very similarly, as like you see that there's a character who is about to bust the main the protagonists, and then they just kind of surprise you with the way it's shot, and it's the same every single time. And by this point, I'm just like watching it in order to get to the end and get to know how the plot unfolds. But I kind of lost some of it, some of the attention. It's just far too many double crossings and everything for by now. The
Well,
mother of the protagonist suddenly is alive, even though she was dead 30 years ago. But still, that kind of tells you something. That's like my viewing preferences for whatever reason
Prison
I
Break though,
choose
I
to watch
actually
it.
haven't watched that. I'm currently only just binging. I wouldn't say binging, but like they're just really short episodes. And I was in December. I was just binging Big Bang Theory.
Okay, yeah, I actually watched this like a year ago. So
You watched
yeah.
the whole thing?
Hmm?
You watched the whole thing? Like
Yeah,
it's
I watched the whole
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
I'm a massive binge watcher. If
Okay.
I start something, I'm gonna finish it.
Yeah. I think I'm like on season 10 now, so I'm getting closer to the end.
Yeah, I watched the entire thing. I did kind of used to hate on the show when I was I don't know, like high school or something like that. I used to say like,
Yeah.
it's not that funny. I don't know. Maybe the jokes kind of started getting to me a bit later. It also got a bit repetitive after a while, but I did
Yeah.
enjoy it way more than I thought I would. I mean, I like jokes about like being a nerd because I'm a bit of a nerd, and I also like jokes about not having sex, which is essentially half the
That's
show.
like two of the main jokes, really. Like
Yeah, that's like
the
half
whole
the show
sitcom.
really, and
Yeah.
yeah, I enjoy that. I have my issues with some of the like how Sheldon is portrayed as an autistic character.
Yeah.
I
Fair.
think, yeah, I'm assuming that people, let's say, who have autism or are working with people who are autistic probably don't really enjoy the show. But
Mm.
I can kind of ignore it, kinda. And
Mm.
yeah, I did enjoy it.
There's a prequel to it called Young Sheldon. So I
Yeah,
watched
yeah,
that.
I didn't watch that, and I don't think I'm going to, but I'm aware of its existence.
Yeah. Um,
And by the way, a great tennis connection there, right? Because Kaylee Cuoco, or however she's pronounced, she used to be married to Ryan Sweeting, who won the ATP
yeah.
Tour event in Houston. She was for a while she was called Kaylee Cuoco Sweeting. So yeah. Tennis is
Yeah.
everywhere.
Well, yeah. I also have my issues with how Rajesh Kutrapali is portrayed. Um,
Yeah, sure.
like
I
the
can.
Indian stereotypes and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, from your perspective, I can understand that. Again, that's not something that bothers me on a personal level, but sure.
Yeah. I can appreciate that he has good lines and his acting is good, but I can't appreciate the just
Mhm.
the cultural stereotypes as a whole. But
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It's again, it's kind of similar with Sheldon, right? I mean, Jim Parsons, I think is his name. I think obviously he's like phenomenal in the part, but yeah, it's just all kind of overcooked, and
yeah,
comedy works like
highly
this generally.
exaggerated. Let's just say
Yeah,
highly exaggerated and at times a little cringe. But
I mean
you know,
that's kind of what comedy is about generally, just like exaggerating stuff in order to make it more funny and just show some underlying social commentary sometimes as well with it.
yeah.
But yeah, maybe sometimes it goes a little far. But yeah, that's another example of a show I watched like 10 or 15 years after its release.
Mhm. Of course, I'm also a big fan of Seinfeld and Larry David and Curb Your Enthusiasm, as John knows actually, because John is also a fan.
No, that's still crazy to me, Jake, that you didn't know Monica Bellucci, but fair. Maybe you started watching films after 2005 and I stopped in 2005. But no, I mean she was in some new stuff too.
Yeah, The Office is a classic, of course.
Yeah, that I actually watched a few years back.
Mm.
Didn't wait with that for such a long time. AP Bio? I don't think I know that.
I've seen it. I watched the first couple episodes. I just couldn't get into it. I don't think I'll go back. All right. What is going on with Kei Nishikori?
Well, already down a set. So if
Yeah.
that like physical fatigue was going to be a concern, then we were maybe expecting that he was going to take the opener, get a 2-1 lead or get a 2-love lead, and then Monteiro has his fight back. But Monteiro is already up. I think someone, yeah, just before we started the stream, actually, I don't know if he answered me since, but just before we started the stream, a friend of mine sent me his bracket, as in like he actually did it on paper. And there were a
Okay.
couple of things that I wasn't like fully agreeing with. So like I'm fine with him picking GMP over Fritz. As I said, I think that's a real possibility. Then he had
Yeah.
Shelton in the quarters, and that's kind of something that GMP beating Fritz can allow for. So that I'm okay with that as well. Then Medvedev he had in the semis. Again, that's something that maybe some other results allow. That's fine. He had Mahac over Lehechka. He's a big Mahac fan. Again, I can't really disagree with that. He thinks that Mahac is gonna beat Djokovic. It's not unrealistic. Okay, that's fine. But the one thing I didn't like about his bracket was Nishikori in the second week.
Oh yeah, yeah. I just had a really hard time with him seeing how he could get past even the second round. I mean, I was like, okay,
Who's in his second round? Can you remind me?
Tommy. I was like, I don't. I'd be very surprised if he.
Yeah. I get that. I think I picked Nishikori to beat Monteiro, just kind of
Yeah.
assuming
Okay.
what we said earlier, that it's probably gonna be a deciding set and he's gonna conserve energy for it.
Yeah. I was like, he's gonna play a 5-setter in the first round and then lose to Tommy in the second.
Yeah, that's precisely what I was looking for. I was even thinking like, is he gonna win that 5-setter? But yeah, then I'm just like, okay, he's gonna do that Diallo Ron Garros thing again, probably. But well, now he has a lot of work to even get to that sort of a point. And Casper already starting against Jaume Munar as well. So we've got 3 men's matches right now. WTA fans are crying.
Well, hopefully the forecast gets better.
Yeah, I don't think it will. Like, I don't know. Maybe the rain will like stop for some points, but when I was checking it earlier, it was just like 50% chance of rain the entire day. Really.
Yeah, I wanted to try to catch the Badosa against Sinyu Wang,
Sure.
but yeah, it might be too late for me now.
Precipitation. Actually, there is a bit of a gap here, but that's from 9 p.m. So if that's the case, but maybe it will quiet down around like 6 p.m. and maybe they can play something. But yeah, it's looking pretty likely that this will be not a complete washout. Obviously, they played some tennis on the outside courts, but but it's gonna be tough to fit in most matches today. I think on the women's side, like this Todoni Zheng one was my favorite by far. I'm not really sure I want to watch anything else that much. Oh, Tauson Noshkova actually, Niemeyer Chwalinska as well. These are
Yeah, I'm
probably my
also
favorite
interested in the result of Pavlyuchenkova. I don't know so much about watching the match, but Pavlyuchenkova against Yui Yuan.
Yeah.
Yeah, just very interested in the result.
Yeah, I actually don't disagree with that. Like, I won't lose sleep over it, but yeah, if it was at a convenient hour, I'd watch it. But if
Yeah,
it's not, I'm not gonna like push myself to watch it. No.
yeah. But Yuan, like I could see a scenario where she's in the third round and she's playing Jang, and
I
it's a very
might
tight
have
match.
picked her into the third round. I don't remember.
Wait, who does? No, so if I meant Zhang against Yuan, potential third round. I could see that being close.
Yeah, I think I might have picked her to the third round. I'm not sure.
Oh yeah, because then she would play Potapova or Zidanchek, and both are kind of
Yeah, I did pick her to the third round. Yeah.
Yeah. But yes, tomorrow's matches. I guess also the top players tomorrow. It's intriguing for sure. Like all 4 matches on Rod Laver. Pretty good tomorrow. Of course, you also have a situation where Carlos and Novak are playing at the same time, but Carlos is on Margaret Court, Djokovic on Rod Laver. Also, you have Tsitsipas Mickelson tomorrow, and you have Swiatek on the third court. Third court is actually bigger than the second court. Oh, and then you also have Kyrgios. So I guess like all the big names that are playing tomorrow under the roof, it's gonna be interesting. I'm interested in all these matches actually. So that's like what 1, 2, 3, 4, 12 matches. The 3 main courts.
Yeah, I just realized I'm not even in the Talking Tennis League on TNNS, but maybe I can still add myself because I removed the app from my phone because I figured okay, it's there's no Grand Slams coming up when it was like October or something, and then I think I might still actually be able to join like midway because I did the brackets. I'm just on a different guest account now.
By the way, Christopher O'Connell versus Tommy Paul could also be interesting-ish.
Yeah. I think it's just one of these matches you probably get quite a lot on this one on around this time of the year or at slams in general, where winning 1 set definitely possible, winning 2 maybe, and then winning 3, that's starting to get a little unrealistic for the underdog.
Yeah. To infinity and beyond. It's a good one.
Oh, that's still like another joke with the Finns and Toy Story.
Mickelson pickleball serve. Oh, is that just because like he literally just throws himself into it, almost like he's hitting a forehand? Mickelson. By the way, Bublik tomorrow against Toronto. Is that one that a lot of people were picking Bublik to win? And it's like very random, actually. Very random match, 50-50.
Yeah, as pretty much all Bublik matches are. You said that the Rod Laver Arena schedule for tomorrow is pretty good.
It's alright. As
I
far as day
mean,
one, as far as day two, round one matches go for Rod Laver, I don't know if it can be that much better.
yeah, but it's still like a lot of big names that are likely going to win somewhat easily. Like I don't know if I want to watch Synergari, to be honest.
I don't, but I might just catch the first set.
Tomorrow is there's a real match in there on one of the three main courts, and that's Fernley against Kyrgios.
Oh yeah, then that's not gonna be able to catch that one unless they're playing in the morning, super early. But then I might
They are
wake up
playing in the morning, not your time, but my time.
Yeah.
Benchy Ostapenko, wow, that's the fifth court, I guess. That's insane. I guess Rublev Fonseca is on Tuesday then, huh?
Yeah.
Cool.
I bet that's gonna be a night match, but please don't make it second on. Please make it first.
Well, for me, I guess I can't really predict which one is better. Never really have any idea how I'm going to sleep. Anyway, Ruud is 3-0 up already, and Kay is struggling. But Virtanen and Fields are holding quite easily so far. So that's giving Otto some sort of
This is
some
looking
lead.
good for K right now because he's under pressure on his service games quite a bit. And I think maybe he's not moving as well as he did in Hong Kong. And he's going to the serve and volley. Like, oh, okay, that worked. That was a good play. By the way, Michael Chang is one of these super coaches that just has never left K. Always been by his side for 11 or 12 years now. Of course, he's also been able to get a lot of family time probably because of all the Nishikori injuries. Oh, and also the amount of times that Nishikori has switched from a pinpoint to a platform stance, I've just lost track.
Ghosti Mute is playing Popyrin in the opening round, which sounds like it's tough, but then again, he's got a very good head-to-head against Alexei, so maybe there's a chance there.
Yes, I want to see Medvedev against Leonard Tien and Medvedev against Alexei Popyrin.
Yeah. Popyrin especially, I think that could be a real cracker if Popyrin gets there, provided that, yes, Mute is a threat. Well, there's a very long point here. Virtanen kind of staying alive, but he's not going to be able to defend that field smash of the baseline. And this could be the game where we see Arthur claiming a commanding lead of 30. Just 2 holes away if he cleans that up from here. Virtanen kind of disappointed, but then again, he went for another forehand slap on the run. So what was he expecting here, really?
He loves that slap forehand, doesn't he?
Ooh, and that's a nightmare volley. Pretty much on top of the net too. So 3 breakpoints for Fields. We are close. We are getting closer and closer to an advantage that could prove just decisive. And well, I'm not gonna call these match points yet, but I don't think Virtanen has done a great job on return since the second set.
So far, this match is giving 2014 Wimbledon quarterfinal Federer-Wawrinka vibes.
Did Wawrinka serve for the second set?
No, but similar-ish. I think so.
Yeah, the scoreline will be
No,
very
no, he
similar.
didn't. He
Yeah.
didn't. But at one point, yeah, it was
I
like
think maybe it was even like 6-3, 6-7, 4-6 or something like that, right? I mean, I think
yeah,
the scoreline
yeah,
might be like exactly this.
identical. Yeah, if face breaks here and then
I think the scoreline might be identical. Indeed, Wawrinka, I don't think he served for the second
no,
set,
no,
but
I
it's
didn't.
something. Oh,
That
by the way,
became
Ghosty 13 double faults as Virtanen obviously gets broken, and Fields is now just 2 holes away.
where does K rank in terms of my honestly very high. If you're talking about the 2010s, I would take a lot of time out of my schedule to watch K. Like his whole US Open run, most of it I watched most of all of the matches. I watched the matches against Raonic, against Wawrinka, against Djokovic, in the final against Cilic. But more than that, I mean, just 2016, I watched like almost every match of his. So like in his peak years, yeah, I loved watching him. Even 2018 and 2019, there were some really good Nishikori moments. Um, Although, except whenever he started playing Djokovic in that span, it just was very predictable. Although their Rome encounter was very good, Rome 2016. It's one of those matches that I will beat the drum about.
I'll tell you something that will disappoint you greatly. I'm sorry, but I have to break it to you.
Mm-hmm.
Federer won that tiebreak against Wawrinka in the second set at Wimbledon 7-5.
Yeah, I didn't say it was exactly the same. I was giving the vibes though.
We might be just like 1 point in the tiebreak away from the same scoreline.
Yeah.
If they keep holding from here, just the next 3 games.
But
Anyway,
yeah, no,
Arthur Fils
like,
serving for free.
I loved his backhand. I liked his what's that demeanor on the court, everything. So
The minor on the court?
Like Nishikori for me was
The
like
minor isn't
I
on
would
the
always
court
get the
yet.
question like who is better between Raonic, Dimitrov, and Nishikori, and my answer would always be Nishikori. So
Vansh, but the minor isn't playing today.
yeah, I know. So funny. Oh gosh, that shows you need to go to bed.
No, that's my favorite
Yeah,
one
of
for
course.
today.
I,
And this isn't
I
just
tweeted something like this about Diminor once, and
that's
actually it didn't be good. It was a
I
good.
would have done that regardless of my physical state. I think that was my best joke today. Maybe that
Okay.
says it all about
I'm
the
gonna
quality of
find
my jokes in general.
I'm
But
gonna find that Diminor tweet that I did. Oh gosh.
what's the record in Islam? Definitely not 13 ghosty. I mean, it's gonna be much, much higher than this. But I don't know. Gigi buttering Fed and Berdick in the rounds before and making it look easy as well. Yeah, that semi against Roger, that was, Djokovic loses to Nishikori. So as a Federer fan at the time, I'm just thinking, okay, this is a great chance. He's just saved the match points against Monfils. It's easy from here. But nope. Alex Zverev match starts later, maybe morning European time. Yeah. Alex Zverev match today is in the night session, and that's going to be after Sabah. Am I right? Yeah, after Sabalenka Stevens. So basically, if you're in Germany, I don't know where you are, but if you're in Germany, it's gonna be like 11 a.m., 10:30 a.m. Europe time. Well, now Virtanen's service, giving him a few free points here at 3-5. Just one more opportunity to break Fields potentially. I was actually gonna check like whether he had any chances at that in the last 2 sets. I don't remember much, to be honest. Yeah, no breakpoints faced by Fields in the third set. No breakpoints faced by Fields in the second set. In the fourth set. So literally, it was just like this one game, right? The second set when Virtanen was serving for it. But
Yeah.
as we said earlier, it's actually Arthur who deserves a lot of credit for that break there.
Yep. He went up 15 though. He had that forehand winner down the line. And the rest from there was basically all face until a double fault at 15-40.
Exactly. Yeah. 3 great return. I want to say 3 great return, 1-2 punches. One was just the return, but still 3 great returns and aggressive finishes to completely turn the match like on its head. And after the changeover, he's gonna have a chance to serve at it. And to be honest, if he wins like this is kind of what we want to see from Fields, right?
Yep.
if he is to get that consistency up and just go deeper in the bigger events.
Yeah, it's matches like this that make you appreciate the top players more. And also just you rate these wins pretty highly because it's easy to always, see Feast like when he's redlining and like how great he is at his peak, but winning these types of matches, that really defines how great you are. So ooh. I'm trying to find that tweet about Divinor, but I can't find it. But I think it was something to the effect of win or lose, Alex always has such a great demeanor on court or something.
That's a good one, yeah.
Oh, okay. So he's hit 30 straight holes as Montero, dating back to the qualifying.
Right, because as I said, he saved 6 out of 6 against Royer. He didn't face a breakpoint against Kopejans, so I guess against Kubler he was probably broken once, I think. So it will be from one of these games against Kubler. Well, the situation of Virtanen looking more and more tricky by the minute. 30 love up for Fils already as he's trying to serve it out.
Nishikori fighting hard though in this set. Nishikori, one of the players who most definitely deserved to win a Masters 1000. Came really close though in Madrid in 2014, and then his back gave up on him against Rafa. That's always the one match I wish Kay could get back because he was playing so well in that final. But yeah, actually, he's another guy who's just like, because of the era that he was in and because of what he was up against. I mean, you look at the resume and you're like, I think he deserved a little bit better, but still managed to make 4 Masters 1000 finals, a Slam final, got to 4 in the world. 2014, 2016, probably his best years.
And what's gonna happen with this +1? That's actually a pretty entertaining match, even though it's so short. But it was never gonna trouble Fils that last ball, and he takes the match 3-6, 7-6, 6-4, 6-4. Indeed, just 1 point in the tiebreak away from that Federer Wawrinka scoreline we mentioned. But yeah, I mean, what did you think about the way that Fils began his tournament just now?
Yeah, well, I mean, certainly in the first set, I didn't even think he played that badly. It was just Virtanen who came up with all the goods and played the kind of really aggressive tennis that we know he can, dangerous tennis that we know he can play. And then he served for it at 5-4 in the second, and Feast really stepped up his level. So I attribute it more to Feast stepping up rather than I do Virtanen faltering in any kind of way. Feast also played a very good tiebreak. His defense in the backhand corner was really good, and then also he just was the more physical player in the end. I think he just was able to impose his brand of tennis a bit better. Sets 3 and 4 more or less, were pretty straightforward. And he'll be very happy about this win because this is the kind of match that a year and a half ago, I don't think he would have won.
Yeah, I think it's exactly like we're looking for him to up the consistency of like going deeper in big events, Grand Slams, ATP 1000s this year. And this is exactly the type of win you needs to be pulling off. Actually, plenty, but still, like it's a start. This is a win that certainly couldn't emerge for him if he didn't get that three consecutive very aggressive returns from 3-6, 4-5, love 15. And that's amazing. Of course, Virtanen helped out a bit with that double fault there to get broken. Lots of double faults in the entire match as well. But from there, Arthur never faces a break point. It's just so much more confident. It's extending the points better. And of course, against Otto, that's a very important quality as well. So it's like a champion win, really. And if he is going to make a splash at either of the Grand Slams this year, at an ATP 1000, like a huge splash, maybe even this one, even though the draw, as we mentioned earlier, is very tough, he needs to be winning matches like this. And on that end, he really delivered. So I think from a mental standpoint, and also, just the game obviously looked very good, but the fact that he was able to dig deep in that one, the most important game of the match, and from there also just like continue without any additional obstacles, without any additional wobbles. All positives, really. There's nothing negative to say about Arthur Fils today after the first round. Maybe the draw opens up for him a bit, considering Alice isn't that fit at the moment. He retired in his only match so far in 25. So maybe at least in the next round, he'll have a slightly easier opponent. We'll see.
Yep. Looks good for him. But I expect at least a third round here. Like you said, the matchup against Humbert is pretty tough. Generally, even though he did beat him and that amazing finals record in Tokyo. But Arthur is a player that everybody's really excited about and pretty high on in terms of, we saw the way he won 2 500s last year and made the fourth round of Wimbledon. At times struggled as well, but he's looking to make that big breakthrough of like, okay, top 20, but can you go a step further and put yourself in like that second tier, behind Sinner Alcaraz.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Jake, but I'm definitely not doing a stream for Nishikori Monteiro. I know you're trying to like put me on the spot here, but no, that's a little much. Although, I can't exclude the possibility of that I'm going to watch it. It's 4:30 a.m., but I know that after streaming, you still get like this boost of energy, which lasts for a while. Although maybe this is actually a very good time to go to sleep because, well, we still don't get any action on the outside courts until much later in the day. Anyway, this is something that I'm going to have to work out on my own. For now, I think we pretty much covered it all. Arthur Fils, fantastic win for him. Really strong mentally and delivering quality-wise too. Qinwen Zheng also kind of the same, as in like she had a bit of a rough 4-5-4 for the love moment when basically she had to take the set there, but she didn't. Todoni starts firing, but when it mattered, Qinwen's serve came alive. And we got these two matches for you guys. That was the first watch along of the Australian Open from the Talking Tennis community. There's definitely going to be last ball drops. Personally, I can't tell you yet whether I'll be on it because I just have no idea when I'll be sleeping. But that's basically what we can say for now. Am I a fan of Red Bull? As in what? The energy drink? I don't drink any energy drinks. I've actually never really had one. So no. As in like a company, they have some good promotion. Like I appreciate some of their advertising, I guess. Football club as well. But actually a couple even with the one in the States. But nah, I mean, probably not. If you mean the energy drinks, no. Any final words, Vansh, before we put this stream to bed and put myself to bed?
No, honestly, I think you're gonna go to bed and I'm gonna go get some dinner, and we'll see how the rest of the action unfolds, and hopefully the other courts can get underway soon, and then we'll have much more to talk about.
Yep. For now, that's all from us here at Talking Tennis today. Make sure to tune into that Last Ball Drops show, and hopefully there's going to be, of course, a lot more content during the Australian Open coming out. Keep subscribing, Talking Tennis and everything. Thank you, Vansh. Thank you to everybody who made our experience of watching this match even more pleasant, and we'll see you some other time. Bye.
Bye. Thanks.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.